There we go.
Good
Good morning,
morning.
chat. Yeah. Okay. So we were backstage. We are just talking about this weekend. We have a friend who is a big super nerd. He's super into Mr. Medicare. He's been working on an AI bot
Yes.
and interactive voice. I don't know. Did you just call it an AI bot?
Yeah, I think it's like
An
an
AI?
AI
Do you have to say
Medicare.
bot? Yeah,
I
it's
think
an AI
AI is just
Medicare.
bot. Yeah.
It's the avatar and the voice, and it's interactive. It's hilarious. But he's been working on it for a long time. And then
Years.
Medicare had a show, and
His comeback
we
show was a
joined
big
him for
one.
the beginning. Yeah, so he had his comeback shows. Our friend Sparky streamed it, and I ended up leaving. I guess I didn't see when you
You
left,
had
but you
pizza.
ended
You
up
had pizza
leaving.
coming. I
Yeah, I
left
had
like
to
an
go
hour
eat,
after
and
you. It was getting past my bedtime.
okay.
But just as I
And they
left
sent
is
me
when,
a message. Is it? Is that when it happened? Yeah, he sent me a
like
message
10
with
minutes after I left.
like the clip of it.
Yeah.
It's so cool. When I'm watching it, I'm like, wait, what happened? Okay, so our friend who has like been working really hard on this for, free, 1,000% for free. He's,
Yeah.
testing it on
Just for the
us. He's
pleasure.
working out all the kinks. Yeah, so he's streaming Mr. Medicare coming back to YouTube. And at the end of the stream, Mr. Medicare's going through different songs, I guess. And he was saying,
Yeah.
I guess he got to the point where he's like, man, it's too bad no one did a Rama Rama. We should just watch the clip. It might take a minute for me to pull it up. But he ends up, so Sparky finally super chats him, and it was for $50. And he was like, I actually did make a Rama Rama. See, I don't know exactly what the chat said, but something to that effect. And he was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And he goes and he finds it. And he's like, oh, okay, well, I guess we're going to have to end the show on this. And then somebody else super chats him $100 and was like, end it with some kind of Peppa thing. I don't know what it was. And he's like, no, not when we've got a Rama Rama right here. So he closes the show with Sparky saying, I
Nice.
don't remember if he says his name, but Sparky said that his chat plumped up to 60 people instead of the 5 that we held all night. And his
Oh,
subs
wow.
are over 7 something now. Yeah, so,
Good
and
for him. I was
yeah,
so
I don't
happy
know.
for
I
him.
was just
Because
so stoked.
after I got off stream, I didn't
I
stop
was
listening. I went to bed and was finished listening to the stream, and I saw him win. I was like, oh shit, I should have stayed for the fucking
that's dope.
grand finale. He
That's
was
super
so
dope.
excited. I
I
feel
was
so
glad we
happy
weren't
for him.
there. I mean, maybe you could have been there, but I was kind of glad I wasn't there. I'm like, I would have celebrated and all, but we're like, what are we
But
clapping
you don't
for?
know. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty dope that it was him and his OGs there when it happened, so they could celebrate like that.
No, I was happy for him. It was pretty good.
What are the odds though? Like that's really fucking dope that he did that.
Yeah.
Anyways,
And Medicare is an internet legend. Like you're just new to him, so it's like a big deal for people who have been around for a while to interact with him. Like Ethan Ralph cried when Jim wouldn't like shook a pill bottle because he was so upset. Like he has that much sway in the old school YouTube community.
oh wait, he cried because I thought
Ethan Ralph had a
he wasn't
full
crying because of an addiction.
no, he had a full mental breakdown, screaming, crying, wanted Jim to die, like said every evil thing he could about Jim's wife, like just complete lost it because Jim picked up the pill bottle and then and he lost it.
Oh, okay. So he was just triggering. It wasn't a good thing.
He
All right.
triggered. Yeah.
I can't believe this is the video you chose to watch. I fucking hated this video. I hated every second of this video. I wanted to go over this video and show you the type of shit people do to audiences to make them use their feelings over their fucking thought processes.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I hate this video. It's so stupid.
You didn't like it?
And you like it just because. No, it's trash.
I think it's good. I think it brings up some good points about Bryan. If they throw out this DNA, if somehow the defense gets this DNA thrown out because it was illegally collected or they did something they shouldn't have done to get it, then everything they found from the DNA going forward is thrown out and not relevant. So then the state would only have that Bryan's car was in the area of the murders. That's it. And that ain't enough to convict nobody on. Let alone take someone to trial.
I mean, his DNA in the house. Oh yeah, you're excluding the DNA.
Yeah, what if it gets excluded?
I guess.
I mean, then they have absolutely nothing on Brian other than his car was in the area, which your car or my car or all the neighbors' cars, like. So they don't. Then if the DNA gets excluded, they don't even have probable cause to even arrest him or investigate him or question him.
Mm-hmm.
Because just your car being in the area.
And you're basing that on the fact that this video's that it's here somewhere.
The DNA expert talked about. I think she talks about how the police found that it was Brian through back channels that they shouldn't have used. So DNA, I think they talk about like 23andMe, and when you submit your sample,
Something
they'll
like
ask you,
that, yeah.
or any other like Ancestry or whatever they all are. So if you submit your sample and you get to pick, would you like to share your DNA with law enforcement? Yes or no. And if Brian or whoever the people in Brian's family that submitted their DNA said no, then the police aren't allowed to look at it. So if they looked at it and used that to go down the line to find Brian, then that is the poisonous tree because that was an illegal search because those people did not consent to law enforcement looking at their DNA, which law enforcement did to track it down to Brian. So then everything would be thrown out because that was an illegal search. But I watched something this morning.
Except for there are exclusions to the rules.
Well, I think that's kind of what I looked at this morning was that apparently Andrea said that you have rights to your privacy, but I don't have rights to Divinity's privacy, which is weird to me. But I guess
it seems obvious.
You have right to your own. You have right to your own. Well, if your DNA led to me, I can't say that your DNA was illegally searched because it's your DNA. But if you said I didn't want my DNA searched, so say they got through,
right.
say Brian's parents submitted their DNA to 23andMe. They said we didn't consent. So then it still becomes a poisonous fruit tree that they didn't consent. So it was an illegal search and everything trickles down and is thrown out.
Not if the illegal consent comes not from the illegal act. So like you're saying, where the third party isn't in on it, it's just something that is part of their job that they came to. There's another, okay, let's just listen to this. Let's learn about what the fruit of the poisonous tree is, because they're never going to tell us. All these people just keep saying it like they know what they're fucking talking about. And so let's figure it out.
I know what I'm talking about, but I don't know for sure. So this will help.
That sounded like
I think a lot of murders. Say it again. I think a lot of murders get off because of the fruit of, like, for the Fourth Amendment searches. Like if someone searches your house without a warrant, they could find murder weapons in your house, but a warrant, the court never gets to see that murder weapon, even though they know you did it. They know everything about it, right? But they can't use it because they illegally went into the house. They didn't call a judge and get a warrant or wait for 10 minutes.
If they illegally go into your house, find your gun, illegally seize it, you get it thrown out on a Fourth Amendment violation, and then you take the stand and say, I've never owned a gun, they can bring up that illegally obtained weapon. You've now opened the door, and that seizure doesn't matter. The elite, 1,000%, the illegality, because he has brought up otherwise unadmissible evidence. Yes,
he opened the door. I get you. Yeah, that makes sense. So as long as Brian says nothing.
Well, he's pretty good at fucking saying nothing. He hasn't even he let the judge say he was not guilty or pleading not guilty. He hasn't said anything except for, am I the only one you arrested? Allegedly.
Do you think that's a form of protest? Like if I was arrested and I thought I was being put through a kangaroo court for something that I didn't do, I don't think I'd want to even interact with the court. I'm like, fuck you, I'm not participating in this fucking kangaroo court. You guys are going to do whatever.
That's how I would do it also.
I'm not saying a word.
Exactly.
I think that's Brian's.
That's how I see it too. I don't know if that's true, but
because even if he says something that's true, it could come out to look guilty.
Exactly. Like said, everything you say can and will be used against you.
Like if someone asks
nothing
me,
it says that it'll be used for you.
No, I don't have any. I didn't do it. Why would I have remorse? Then you're like, oh, see, he doesn't have remorse. He's evil. No, because I didn't do it. I don't have remorse, motherfucker. So you want to just keep your mouth shut, even if you think you're saying something to help yourself.
Yeah.
My big thing with Brian, though, because do we know if he's out on bail or still locked? I think he's still locked up, isn't he?
I'm pretty sure he's locked up.
Yeah, because for me, if I had an alibi that could get me out of this whole situation, that would have been the first thing I was fucking saying to my lawyer, like, hey. But apparently he doesn't. Oh, I watched an interview with somebody that Brian used to go jogging at night with. They used to go like every 2 or 3 days a week, do a 5-mile jog at night. And this guy liked to jog at night, but he didn't want to do it by himself. So he asked Brian, and him and Brian would do their nighttime jogs. So Brian doing late night drives and late night stuff was a normal behavior for him.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it looks suspicious that Brian's alibi was, I was out driving around late at night. I could be driving around smoking a joint like we used to do as high school kids.
Yeah, I mean,
because we couldn't do it at home.
I don't understand.
We had to drive around long enough that the stink would get off of us and stuff. You know, like. But we used to just drive around my town every like Friday.
This is
Saturday
a grown ass man. He's 28 years old. I'm pretty sure he could just smoke weed.
Not if he has an apartment building where he's not allowed to, or if he lives at home with mommy and dad.
I guess
he might not be allowed.
He doesn't. He has an apartment.
But the apartment thing, I know, because when I was on university campuses, there was no weed. You weren't allowed to smoke weed on campus. So they had a path through the woods. It was like 10 feet off of campus property where everyone would go and smoke their weed. Not that.
I don't know.
So it was
anyways, for your story, you always have to say he's smoking crack. You think he's a meth head, so get out. Leave the weed alone, man.
Brian's a meth head?
Didn't you say? Don't you think he was like looking for a dealer that and sold his knife
drugs,
for his
fix? Yes.
Well,
yes, that's true. That's true.
Well, he said he used the drugs have to make him skinny. Weed's not going to do that. So you got to pick a drug that checks all the boxes.
Stop hitting me in the facts and logic, will you?
My bad, Ski. Okay, so Brian is still in jail. I asked the internet. It's funny because I asked the internet, is Brian in jail? And it's like, yeah, Brian's in jail. I'm like, hold on. The first question, the first Brian, it's William Roddy Brian. I'm like, wait a minute, I should be more specific. Is Brian in jail?
yeah. How many Brians are in jail?
Read my mind.
Look up for a show. Look up different names and see how many people with that name are in jail.
Well, it's funny when my oldest son first learned about the internet, he was like, oh, you can search stuff? I'm like, yeah. And he gets on the internet. He was like, and he searched Jennifer and hits enter. I'm like, who's that? He's a girl in my class. I'm like, okay, it's more difficult than this.
We're starting off stalking already. Here we go.
Wait a minute, maybe I should have told that story on the internet. Have I ever Googled my name?
Yeah,
I'm sure I have. I'm sure I have.
I've done mine and nothing comes up except a photographer in Scotland that has the same name. So I'm like, I'm not down.
Oh, I should do that. I'm not going to do it now, but I should look it up and see what other people are doing with my name. Okay, let me read this. Fruit of the poisonous tree is a doctrine that extends to the exclusionary rule to make evidence inadmissible in court if it was derived from evidence that was illegally obtained. As the metaphor suggests, if the evidential tree is tainted, so is its fruit. The doctrine was established in 1920 by the decision in Silverthorne Lumber Company versus U.S., and the phrase fruit of the poisonous tree was coined by Justice Frankfurter in his 1923 opinion in Nardone versus U.S. The rule typically bars even testimonial evidence resulting from excludable evidence, such as a confession. Like the exclusionary rule itself, this doctrine is subject to 3 important exceptions. The evidence will not be excluded if it was discovered from a source independent of the illegal activity, like the lady who discovered it at the DNA place would be independent of this illegal activity, in my opinion.
But it was got the sample illegally.
No, she matched it illegally. They're saying that the sample's fine. They're saying that they checked the box that says that they shouldn't have searched it or something.
True. Yeah. Good point.
Number 2, it was discovered. If it's discovered, it was inevitable, so it was going to happen. If it was on its way to happening anyways, or the evidence found as a result of excludable voluntary testimony from the defendant. That's the one I was saying before. Voluntary testimony that was originally excludable.
What does that mean?
Like, for instance, if they find the gun, it's excludable in your home because you didn't have a valid search warrant, and then you testify that you've never had a gun.
Okay,
that's the excludable
that makes sense.
voluntary testimony example.
Okay, good.
Further, if the primary evidence was illegally obtained but admissible under the good faith exceptions, its derivatives, its fruit, may be admissible. So there are exceptions to this.
I wonder what that means. So if you know it was
Well, so
illegally obtained, I wonder if they went into somebody's house without a warrant and found a dead body, and then
what made him go in?
The smell, maybe.
Yeah, I would say good faith.
Yeah, and then they didn't.
I don't know. Let's read it. I've never read this.
On.
Good faith provides an exception to the Fourth Amendment exclusionary rule, barring the use at trial of evidence obtained pursuant to an unlawful search and seizure. If officers had reasonable good faith belief that they were acting according to legal authority, such as by relying on a search warrant that is later found to have been legally defective, the illegally seized evidence is admissible under this exception. So if officers had reasonable good faith belief that they were acting according to legal authority, such as by relying on a search warrant that is later found to have been legally defective. Damn, that's interesting.
So could this mean that a prosecutor could make up lies on a search warrant? The police could go search it, find all the stuff, because they don't know the prosecutor lied to get the search warrant. So the cops get to go in and go through the house and find all the stuff they want. And the judge goes, wait a minute, you lied, motherfucker. You lied on your search warrant. But the cops didn't do anything they thought was wrong. They thought they were enforcing a legal. See, I would think that would be.
But what would happen is the evidence may become admissible. You probably won't get to court because of how it started. So it becomes irrelevant. This is an evidence rule. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
Okay, so it says Arizona v. Evans is an example of the good faith exception in action. Officers relied on a search warrant that turned out to be invalid. In Davis v. U.S., the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the exclusionary rule does not apply when the police conduct a search in reliance on binding appellate precedent allowing the search. Under Illinois v. Cruel, that's a cool last name, Cruel. It was
not a killer.
Well, yeah, I mean, it might suck.
Oh, I just saw a case last night of a 14 or 16-year-old girl who stabbed her quadriplegic sister to death, and then was like, she didn't live stream, but she like took a stuffed giraffe and rubbed it in her sister's blood, and then was outside filming it for TikTok videos. Oh, it's crazy.
Just happened?
Yeah.
Wow, that is cruel.
And she was doing like a lot of dark TikTok-y stuff.
We might want to watch it. If we have time after we get through this, that's just more than enough to end a show on. Wow.
I'll have to find it, yeah.
A quadriplegic?
Yeah,
how old was the sister?
I think the sister was 12.
No fucking way. What would you do if you're the parents? You're like, man. Okay, listen, I'm just gonna skin you alive. No big deal.
Yeah. Do you kill your other kid? Like, do you call the cops or do you kill her? Or did she do you
you call the you say, I'm gonna kill you, but I'm gonna call the cops first. You need to fucking run. I don't care. You kill something that I love. I don't care if I loved you already.
Yeah, I'm gonna find it. If we don't do it today, we'll do it another day for sure, Chad.
That's such a difficult one. I think we should actually look at those cases. Like, if there's some way to talk to parents or to hear the interviews of parents who had a child kill their other child or something.
Because
like in a bad way, not an accident.
No. You think? Well, did you remember the Slender Man killings?
Yeah.
And those little
killings though, they didn't kill her. I don't think. Did they end up killing her?
I thought she died. Didn't she die? Or did she live? They stabbed her a bunch of times and were smashing her head against the brick wall. And didn't they try to dig a grave for her too or something?
I don't think she died. We'd have to look into that. Hold on. We're getting way off track. The Slenderman ones are crazy because, thanks for showing up early, by the way. I appreciate it. Hey,
I love it. I'm a morning person.
Winter Soldier, I heard you say hi to them earlier there in chat.
Yeah.
Rumble Ghetto? Yeah, this is our neighborhood. Okay, so let me keep going here.
Yes.
Evidence may be admissible if the officers relied on a statute that is later invalidated. In Herring v. U.S., the court concluded that the good faith exception to the exclusionary rule applied when police employees erred in maintaining records in a warrant database. Oh, fuck that. Imagine they put out a warrant for someone's arrest. They come to the wrong house to arrest the person, find you, see all your drugs, and arrest your ass. They're like, sorry, our database isn't good. Fuck off.
They do that.
And it
I've
covers
watched a
that.
bunch of videos where they do
Listen
that.
to me
They
right
break
now,
into
though.
people's homes.
This is the good faith exception. This is the first bar to me. There's another bar where it gets worse that says if even during the illegal thing, the excluded evidence can still come in. So there are 2 ways for it to happen with 3 elements, it sounds like, under the first one. I don't know how many are under this good faith
Do
one,
you
but
think
it
that's
sounds
fucked up that the state can do that? They can just
Yes. Absolutely.
that shouldn't be allowed. Like, that should be the poisonous tree for sure, because then the state can get away with anything they want by the cops going, well, we did what we thought was right, even though we know the prosecutor and we had drinks with the prosecutor the night before.
Yeah, I think,
Because the
well, when
detectives
it
all
comes
know the
down to that
prosecutor
kind of
by
shit,
name.
like, I don't think that the country or the criminal justice system or the cops even are
Like
as
Stinger.
corrupt as it seems.
I think it's the opposite. I think they're way more corrupt than it seems, and I think we're only getting the tip of the iceberg of what we
It
actually
seems
see
like
as
they're
corruption.
100% corrupt. Like,
Yeah.
cops are bastards, everyone's bastards. And to me, if you just looked at, like, the overall just kind of feel of it, I would say it seems like 8 out of 10 cops are trash and 2 are good. I think that's probably not true. I bet the 2
I think
I think it's
is.
probably the opposite. They go out every single day and they try to not die and uphold the law. And I think probably the 2 that are trash in the 10 are enough that the other 8 need to. That's what you just have to deal with, like, Serpico their asses and get them out of here, or else you're just gonna have to be trash. I just feel like it's not as corrupt as as we see.
Do you know any cops personally?
Yeah, a lot.
I know a few too, and they're all fucking not. I wouldn't trust any of them on the job because they tell me stories about shit they do on the job.
I've heard stories about the shit they do on the job, but they're never like inhuman. You know what I mean? They're not like they're fun to me. I'm like, damn, that sounds like fun. It never sounds like, what the fuck, you guys would do that to a person?
Mine are the ones I know. They like turn their body cameras off and do dirty shit.
Well,
because they know they can beat the shit out of people, and the people did commit a crime. So say they did like steal something from Walmart, the cops will like take them out, beat the fuck out of them because the guy's like, all right, we're not going to charge you with the crime, but you learned your lesson because you have a black eye and a missing tooth. They do that kind of shit.
That's retarded.
Yeah. And stealing drugs. They used to steal people's drugs all the time and smoke them.
That I think probably happens a lot.
I mean,
take
okay
my stack.
I'd
rather exactly.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm kind of okay with that one being a teenager because I have had it happen to me. I had a cop actually take liquor from me, and I said, "Okay, you got to pour that out now." He was like, "No, I don't." I'm like, "I know." It was a brand new bottle around because if the seal would have been broken, he probably would have poured it out. He's like, "No, I'm gonna keep this as evidence." I'm like, "Evidence for what? You just gave me the fine. We're not going to court. Give me the fine. Put the rum back in the fucking car in the trunk because it's not open." Nope, we took it. I'm like, motherfucker.
That's pretty funny. Okay, so
I think a lot of cops get into the police for good reasons, but I think it's that pig pen cleaning thing, right? You have the best intentions to become a cop to save people, but once you get in the pig pen, you can't clean the fucking shit out of the pig pen with the pigs in it. You either follow line and join the club, or they'll run you out of the club.
Yeah, you might be right.
The guy I worked with, his daughter got ran out of the police because she kept asking too many questions. So they weren't responding when she'd ask for help in a timely way. They wouldn't
what?
Yeah, just little things, right? Like she'd call for backup to just a traffic stop, right? Because they want to have 2 people there if there's 4 people.
Because she's a woman and she can't give a ticket without a dude around.
Well, no, she wanted to pull. She smelled alcohol, whatever. She wanted to pull people out of the car, but there was four people in the car who she thought were all drunk. She wanted help because you can't take on 4 dudes as a woman. One guy, even if it's like one guy cop.
Well, your cops don't carry weapons, or do they?
Yes, that's British.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
Well, might as well be.
Right. So what they were doing with her is they were like, "Yeah, we're coming." And then she was like, "Man, it's taking them a long time." So after a few months of this happening all the time, she went in and started looking at their body camera, and they were sitting at Tim Hortons. waiting, like the coffee shop, while she was calling for backup. They finished the coffee.
What?
Because they wanted her to quit. They couldn't quit her. They wanted her to quit. So they just, do little.
Do you think that a man would
Lots
have
of
called for
companies do that.
backup
Not
in the
just
same
police, but lots of companies
situation?
that they want to fire an employee, but they can't, so they quit them. They just keep doing shit until they finally give up and leave.
Do you think that they did it because she was a woman or because she asked too many
Sports
questions?
teams do it too. You have guys like we have guys in the rugby team that were fucking. They wanted to be on the team. They paid all their dues. They come to every practice. They fucking suck. So we just fucking start smashing them and practice so hard they give up.
Dash one way to do it. Okay, let's watch this video. So we heard the words. You can't hear me?
She's muted.
I'm muted?
Nope, still muted.
I don't know how to fix it.
I saw you mute yourself and unmute yourself. It's
too
my
bad.
show now, chat. She can't speak.
Nobody.
How do I fix We're on probable cause.
I wonder if you can hear this. Hold on. Let me see.
What do you think, chat? Do you think there's a poisonous tree aspect? Is Brian going to get off while doing?
No one's in chat.
I think it's probably 15% chance at this point.
Tell me, can you hear this?
Sure. Probable cause.
No, I can't hear the video play or you.
Oh, son of a bitch. Okay.
All right, chat. We're going to fundraise for a new mic for Divinity. This is the new grift. She's going to try and come out and come back in. Nope, not yet.
Still no?
Did you sit on the mute button? Well, I'll let you know when you speak, but you're nothing right now.
Okay.
What else about Brian? So yeah, I think Brian has like a 10%, 15% chance to get off on this, unless more comes out. But apparently the media's fucking with us, and they're fucking with the courtroom, and possibly getting the cameras removed from court, because fuck you, media. Apparently they keep zooming in on Brian KOHBERGER's face when the judge specifically, and I think in writing, said not to. So I don't know if this is part of a cover-up bullshit, something or other, but it's going to happen. So I'm interested to see the state, because I think state's doing a binger. I think they're going to try and pull a lot of dirty tricks. I think the defense is going to have to yell objection a lot, and I hope she fucking does. I hope she doesn't do what Kyle Rittenhouse's defense did, because they should have objected a lot, and they didn't.
Can you hear me?
She's still not back. Nope, still muted.
Still muted?
Oh, that must have been a yell, because her little icon really big, so that must have been a fuck. Fuck, this doesn't work. No, still don't hear you.
Your browser has blocked your screen. Click the screen icon and what?
She hates it now because I'm just taking over. It's my show. What else are we going to talk about today? Brian. Oh, apparently the host. This is something else I have questions about. The host was a frat host with a lot of parties, a lot of teenagers. A lot of people coming and going, having fun, dancing, sweating, spitting, everything, sex in the beds. How come there's only 4 DNA samples found in that entire house?
Can you hear me?
No, I still can't hear you, Dave.
Damn it.
Like, I don't get it. 4? Only 4, the entire house. So the girls' beds, the hallways, the kitchen, everywhere. There was only 4 samples. That baffles my mind. In my head, there should be 100, 200
Can you hear
samples.
me now?
Who knows? No, I still can't hear you. The lack of samples gives me questions.
So much to say about
asking
this.
for why all 4 samples weren't tested the same way Brian's was tested raises questions. It's almost like they had Brian and then worked their way back to put Brian at the scene. Because so far it's just that one touch DNA on the knife sheath, which, like I said, it could be that he gave or sold a knife or gave a knife to somebody else and his DNA was on the sheath. Like if I sell you my phone, my DNA is going to be on that phone for however long DNA lasts. That's something we should look up too. How long does DNA last
that's
on
a good
services
idea.
to be tested? That'd be a good question. Because if it's like 48 hours, that would be the reason why there was only 4 samples found. Oh, poor Div, she's screwed. She doesn't know what to do. Have you tried unplugging everything and plugging it back in? Or going into StreamYard settings? settings. Maybe it just let go of your microphone and rehooked it up, possibly. Because I know my mic will leave this mic and take the mic on my computer sometimes, and I have to fix that. It's the Nova show today.
Oh,
Gibbs
no.
is just going to bring stuff up on screen and I'll talk about it. Oh, there was a yell. Fuck! Early morning. See, your computer wasn't warmed up for this. That's the problem. What about you, chat? You guys have any questions? Leave your questions in the chat. I'll answer them. What else about BRYAN? The speedy trial thing, that raised some questions that BRYAN could be guilty, because if I was innocent, I would want to get the show on the road as fast as possible. But unless BRYAN needs time for DNA experts to be hired and to go over all of the lab work and all that stuff, that could be the reason to want more time. But fuck, man, I couldn't imagine sitting in jail for innocent that long. That's crazy. Especially he's got to defend himself because he's a skinny little white dude. So he's definitely going to get pushed. I wonder if they got beat up in jail too, because that would be fucked up. I wonder if they find out that BRYAN for sure didn't do it, and they made up all the reasons to arrest him and all that shit, and BRYAN gets beat up in jail, I wonder if BRYAN can sue the prosecutor or somebody for a wrongful arrest and assault, because if it wasn't for them arresting him, BRYAN never would have got shit pushed in jail. Maybe.
Gross. Can you hear me?
Stretching the limit. We can give some time here.
Okay.
No, I think she killed her mic. She dropped it in her coffee. We'll figure it out. What else about BRYAN? I think this trial is going to expose the state more than it's going to expose BRYAN, because the prosecutor has been leaking shit out. The police have been leaking shit out. But nothing's been, other than we have BRYAN's DNA, which I don't know why you would release that, but whatever. I think that would be like something you would keep secret until court. If I was the prosecutor, I'm like, well, Mr. KOHBERGER, now that you're here, why is your DNA on the scene? But I guess they would do the gotchas like that. That's TV. I like TV.
Hello?
Oh, babe, she's never gonna make it. Nope, can't hear you. You're just flashing. Do you want to shut it down and try and start it back up again? We can try that. I think tomorrow we're going to talk about Nick and Drexel and their inability to admit that Drex is a groomer, and Nick's newfound love for people who groom. So he's defending Vito,
newfound.
Is it weirdo, one of those. Drex, who's an admitted groomer, in his own words, on video. Ethan Ralph, Vito. It's weird. Nick's siding with all these people and not with Eric, even though he knows Nick Masterson did it, is in the wrong. Nick just says, I haven't seen any definitive proof. Not that he doesn't believe Dick did it. He just says, I haven't seen any evidence that Dick did it, other than Dick and Vito talking about doing it, which is fucked up. So yeah, Nick's burning all of his bridges. It's weird. He's like the Sky King of Lawtooth. He's just having fun doing his loop-de-de-loops, and he's gonna crash into the fucking ground hard.
No. He is not the fucking Sky King.
He's gonna have
the Sky King was cool. Fuck off. Well, I don't think you can say fuck off on Rumble Chat.
Shows it's working.
Nick is not. Stop this.
Maybe.
This is
this
is propaganda. Oh wait, you can hear me. Oh no.
Would you?
Does that mean that the chat heard me the whole time? Because I'd be maybe talking shit about what you're saying right now.
Can you hear you talking on my mic?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, so my headphone just died. While you were talking, that's crazy.
Okay, well that's actually good. I mean,
oh, you're back.
I mean, you're back.
You're back. We're back. I'm back. What the hell? Oh, I see what the problem was. This is how I'm gonna unplug and show you how dumb this is.
No.
So these are the two plugs that go into the computer. I made sure they were plugged in, but it was this third stupid. Why this is here, I don't know. It was just out like a quarter of a millimeter. My bad, chat. My bad. It was really my gay ops to steal a show from Divinity. I don't know why you're.
That's funny. Okay, hold on. First of all, for the record, yeah, no fucking way. Isn't it the Sky King of anything? That dude was cool as shit. That dude was so fucking cool. I would have been his homie every day of the week. I would have done loop-the-loops with him, and I would have crashed into the island.
I wish I could have like texted him, "Hey man, we gotta hang out. Can you fly over here?" Like,
yeah, that guy was super dope. Nick is nothing like that. Nothing at all like that. I mean, I got popcorn to watch this crash. The other one, I was like, oh, he called his wife. Okay, so maybe that's so funny that you could hear me. I don't know what I said behind the scenes thinking nobody could hear me. No. Well, for sure no one's in chat because they didn't say we could hear this bitch. It's just me in chat. I went to chat. I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. Chat's better. But you can't say fuck, so I had to say. Can you see in chat? I said I'm gonna type in chat because fuck this show.
For the retired ain't new, it's old stock. I'm gonna type in chat because fuck this show.
Oh, you can see fuck this show.
Yeah.
I wonder what I thought I couldn't say fuck, so I had to say it twice.
No, Rumble you can say anything you want.
Nah, I thought I yeeted fuck. Hold on, let me say something in chat. Can you see this?
Fag.
Okay. And you could see just fuck. Maybe because I own the channel? No, it wouldn't matter.
No, I don't think there's any blocks.
Do you see fuck?
Do you see nigger?
Oh, no. I disavow.
It's on my screen.
Yeah, they yeeted that. Okay, so there's some things you can't say.
Okay, so yeah, I see fuck, I see fag.
Okay. Yeah, well,
I guess just the N words.
I didn't try that last one.
I guess just the N words. Not. That was for testing purposes only, folks.
Mm-hmm.
We're just testing the system, stress testing it.
You showed your black card last week. You're fine. You're fine.
That's right. I have a black card.
Okay, so let me play this video. We're going to talk about exclusionary rule and Brian Kohlberger. Oh, hold on. You said, how did they only find 3 male DNAs in the house?
There are 4 total samples altogether. I think that's all they found. And then I asked, how long does DNA stick around?
That's a good question. How long does DNA stick around? Let me ask.
No pun intended.
I'm just going to say it like that. Stick around. What, on the surface? On surfaces?
Yeah, because it wasn't blood. They said it wasn't
blood.
Oh
my God, the answer. Hold on. Let me show you. Oh, shit.
Sperm.
1 million years.
1 million years.
Fuck.
No way. Lifespan of surfaces. Yeah, like sun would kill it.
Oh, maybe it's your, like, maybe like, what? How much DNA?
Depends
like
on very toxic exposure, sunlight. Yeah, oxygen's going to degrade it. Theoretically survive for 1 million years. DNA will be useful. Oh, go back up for a second.
Oh, sorry.
DNA will be useful for only a few weeks. If it's buried a few feet below the ground, DNA will last. So if it's exposed to oxygen, it's a few weeks.
If the body is left out in the sun and rain. Okay, maybe I should not. Let's see.
DNA Remember they tried to tell us COVID would last on your Amazon packages for 48 hours? So people were like spraying their packages down.
Yeah. Okay. DNA left behind without a touch. This is a cool graphic. A person can leave DNA on a surface without directly touching it. A Flinders University study has found with the longer someone spends in a room, the more likely they are to leave a trace of themselves behind. Recently published in the journal Forensic Science International Genetics and led by somebody else. The study looked at how much DNA was deposited by people across varying distances and time periods. DNA collection plates were placed around individuals' desks, spaced out between 0.5 to 5 meters, and left for 1 day to 6 weeks before being swabbed and profiled without anyone directly touching the collection plates. DNA from multiple people was present after only 1 day. With the DNA profiles stronger, the closer the plates were to an individual and the longer they stayed out. Obviously. Co-authors say that advancements in forensic science have seen DNA profiles able to be generated from very. So that's interesting. So, I mean, because it's touch DNA.
Like, I wonder if touch DNA means, like, so you know how we shed our skin, like, I don't know, it's like your whole body sheds its skin once a month or something weird like that. I don't know if we can look that up.
Mm-hmm.
But we shed all these dead skin cells, like all the dust in your house, 80% of it is like skin cells. So I'm wondering if it was like one of those skin cells that, all your dandruff, all that stuff is it's human DNA.
Gross.
So I'm wondering that DNA could be from any, like, that's why touch DNA is so, I think it's unreliable, because if BRYAN was at the house once, his DNA could be there.
He's never been at the house.
Well, he's never admitted to buying drugs.
You made that up. That's why. Okay. Touch DNA.
Well, what if he did sell his knife? Do you think that would be a justifiable reason?
Wouldn't it be hilarious? He's like, I sold my K-bar, so ha.
I would have said that before my ass was sitting in the cell.
No, they never found the knife. Why admit to ever having a knife?
Well, they went through BRYAN. I think they went through BRYAN's Amazon purchases and found a K-bar knife, and they found a sheath that went to the K-bar, so they assume it's a K-bar. Because the
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the forensic pathologist said that she was trying to say the cuts were not stab wounds, or there was no slash wounds. They were all stab wounds, which I'll have to find that video, because someone brought up that a golf club can make the same type of incision as a stab wound if you like an iron club, not a big round one, but the little metal ones. If you swing that with enough force, it will cut through your skin like a knife, but it's called a blunt force cut, not a slash.
I think that you're trying to say that the coroner didn't know the weapon?
Yes. I'll find that video, because somebody else brings it up a lot, because they show pictures of like the wounds and what makes different wounds, and that the coroner is like, because the coroner was like a 70-year-old woman. She barely knew what the fuck she was doing. I think she
barely knew. If she's 70, she probably knew better than the young bucks.
I think she was just fucking rubber stamp or whatever the police fucking told her.
Oh my god, why?
Because I'm a conspiracy theorist.
Oh. Hold on, this is you.
I saw that this morning and I fucking lost it. Yeah, that's me. Give my ideas.
Leave me alone. I don't know.
Oh, God.
Fucking get out of here with this bullshit.
Yeah, that's us.
They're
not
so
not
funny.
blackface out. This isn't us doing blackface.
Yeah, we're just trying to stay out of the rain. Damn it.
See, you're the blonder one.
Yeah.
Too funny.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Okay. Coroner. BRYAN KOHBERGER.
We haven't even watched the original video we put up yet.
That video is trash. Hopefully
I think we should still watch it.
My mic was on for all that. We will, and I'm going to stop every time where it's ridiculous. Okay. You know what the fuck it is? It's a regurgitation of a long crime video. That's why I was like, why are these edits like this? Why are they cutting it off here and there? And then I watched a long crime because I'm trying to find the full version of this. I'm like, oh, it's this.
Oh, you're taking long cuts back now? Oh.
I'm gonna mute. How do I mute this? Canadian. I don't know. I can't hear you. Your mic's not working. Maybe just come back another day. Okay. First of all, let's listen to this. I've said it for 43 minutes. We're gonna really watch this video here. Share.
Yes.
Probable cause, like search and seizure, is a phrase that is explicitly mentioned by the Fourth Amendment. Probable cause is the standard that must be met for any warrants to issue and for any searches or seizures to be executed. There are two definitions of probable cause: the level of probable cause necessary for a search and that is necessary for an arrest. Let's start with probable cause necessary to justify a search. Probable cause is determined based on the totality of the circumstances test, which means that the court will consider all the factors present and known to the officer at the time of the search or seizure. Probable cause to search exists when the facts and circumstances within the officer's knowledge, and of which they have reasonably trustworthy information, are sufficient in themselves to warrant a man of reasonable caution in the belief that an item subject to seizure will be found in the place to be searched. The search
Makes
cannot
sense.
be based on just a hunch.
What's a
Assume
reasonable man?
is a car speed.
What'd you say?
What's a reasonable man? You have to have an IQ above 80?
Reasonable person. It's, reasonable person without having any extra degrees, just your average Joe. No, you don't
All
have
my conspiracy brothers.
to. They definitely fuck up the average. Just kidding.
Presidential Road at 2:00 a.m. After the officer pulls the vehicle over, the officer notices that the driver has red and glassy eyes. The
Oh,
officer
no.
orders the driver out of the car, searches the car, and finds a large
It's
quantity
allergy,
of marijuana.
officer. What?
A court, after considering the totality of the circumstances, would likely hold that the facts known to the officer at the time of the search did not rise to the
No.
level of probable cause, and the search was
Good.
based on a hunch.
He had no reason to pull
As
him over.
such, a court would likely conclude that such a search was illegal
He
under
had no reason to search his car. He had a reason to pull him over.
What was his reason to pull
the
him
Fourth
over?
Amendment.
Well, let's find out.
I think he just
However,
said
the court
cop
now
pulls you
searches
over
the
and you
car
have
and
red
finds
eyes.
a large glassy eyes. The search pulls her notice to be searched. The search cannot be based on
see.
just a hunch. Assume an officer notices a car speeding down a residential road at
Okay.
There it is.
I think
2
that's
o'clock
grounds to search
a.m.
the car.
After the officer
That's not probable cause to search your car. Did you just say you think that is?
Well, you're breaking the law.
No, it doesn't matter. Find me a warrant to search my person or my car or my effects, anything.
Okay, Canada's different. Canada, if your car... this is why I'm defending my idiocy for American law. In Canada, your car is on a government road at the pleasure of the government. You don't have a right to be on the road. So you voluntarily give the police full right to search your vehicle because you're on a government road.
Oh.
You
Well,
don't have a right to say, no, you can't. That's an American thing for sure. That's why America's better.
we should start a list.
We should. Why the fucking escape Canada? No, it should be
Number
why
1.
America should invade and rescue Canada. You fucking go save a bunch of Iraqis for freedom, but you won't save us?
How much oil do you have?
More than Iraq.
Do you have Stargates?
We have more than Iraq. We have Stargates.
You got it all? Yeah, we need Canada.
We have all the food.
Canada's just trash. The people are sucky.
That's what I mean. You just need to invade us, make us a new state.
No, we got enough
We'll
states.
exclude Quebec. We'll give Quebec back to France because they're French, and we'll isolate them.
Yeah, agreed. Finally, we're coming to terms. Okay, let's keep listening. So this guy's gonna get pulled over. They're not. This is just an example. Blah blah blah. You can't search him.
Run by.
Hey, could have used you about 15 minutes ago with the soldier when this faggot couldn't hear
When I
anything. He's
started
deaf in
saying-
one ear, and then he unplugged his headphones just for the fun of it. That's what I'm dealing with here, y'all. What you say? I'm deaf.
on the street at 2 a.m. After pulling the car over, the officer approaches the driver's side window and notices the occupants are very nervous.
Ooh, well, you
The
know
officer
Bullshit.
asks the
Nervous is
driver to
not a
lower the
fucking thing.
window, and when the driver does, he notices a foggy substance coming
Oh,
out,
he's
which
smoking
appears
the
to be
herb.
marijuana
Foggy?
smoke.
Fog now.
While speaking with the driver, the officer notices a Ziploc bag of pills,
What?
a pipe,
I thought
and
it
a
was-
bag with unidentified white
Is this
powdery
Hunter Biden?
substance lying next to the front side passenger's seat.
He's at the White House.
If it's in plain view, I think it's fair game.
I got a question. If he's smoking those pills out of that pipe or whatever, does it create the foggy smoke, or is he also smoking
Yeah, where's
herb?
this fog coming from? I think if it's in plain
It's-
view and the cop sees it, I think that's probable cause for him to fucking check your shit.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But the smell thing, I think, is bullshit because all cops
Yeah.
just say in their body camera, "Oh, I can smell weed."
If you
because
could
can't
see
take
it,
that to
that's
court.
different. If
Seeing
you don't,
it,
you
I
can't go
think is
searching
true.
for it.
Because I've had cops go, "You smell like weed." I'm like, I haven't had any fucking weed in the last. I don't
It's
know
my
how-
cologne, Ossifer.
Well, no, because I had a coat that I used to smoke. Because I lived in an apartment, we had to go outside and smoke, and that was just my coat. But at the time, I hadn't had any. Like I could have passed a drug test for weed, and the cops like, "I smell marijuana on you." Like, no, it's my coat. Well, I think you're impaired. And he just
What?
has to go, oh, your eyes aren't right. And meanwhile, oh, you're acting
Yeah,
agitated. You must be high. I'm
trash.
like, no, I'm agitated because you're a fucking retard.
Yeah. That is
So they'll
frustrating.
instigate you into being agitated, justified. Just
I
like when they
know the
say,
fucking
quit
Jehovah
resisting.
Witnesses come to my door and do the same shit. I'm like, I wanted to talk to you guys. Why are you being like this? I'm like, oh, cool. But I wasn't like properly dressed, so I had my arms crossed in front of me. So like, I don't know, it wasn't like boobs were hanging out or whatever. And I think they took that as me being like,
Do they send kids to your door like to trick you? They do here.
no, they sent these were two dudes, and I talked to them a lot, and I was like, yeah, let's come back and talk to me about Jesus. I didn't really know what they meant, but I was like, hell yeah, let's talk about the new earth or whatever's going to happen here. And so they leave, and then they send two women back to my house, and I don't remember what happened when the women came. But they had this little note that they must have, like, the guys must have wrote the note and then gave it to the women's, like, here. And then the women's came to my house, and when they left, the note must have flew away like a Post-it, because I found the note, and it's like, 40s white woman. I'm like, 40s? I was 30 then. I'm like, you know what? Fuck them. Fuck those guys. I'm never talking to Jesus about talking to them about Jesus ever again. They going to jail for that judgment. I mean,
we call
hell.
them Jehovah's here.
I don't know if they were.
But what they do is they take a car and they drive down like a little cul-de-sac, and they'll park the car like back far enough that they can watch the kids go up and knock on the door. And once the kids make contact, then they come out and fucking gotcha. You open the door. Because usually you see them walking up your driveway, you just don't answer the door.
No way. Haven't you heard? Hold on a second. I got to show you something real quick. This is why you don't answer the door for kids.
Because my grandmother, she was like a super church lady. Like every day, she's never said a swear word in her life. She hated when
she gave you a shirt that said you're an asshole.
No, different other grandmother.
Okay. Have you heard of the Becks, these black-eyed children?
No.
Well, this is the reason why you don't open your door, especially for kids. Fuck them.
Little devils?
Listen, in American contemporary legend are paranormal creatures that resemble children between 6 and 16 with pale skin and black eyes who have reportedly been hitchhiking or begging or are encountered on doorsteps of residential homes. While tabloid coverage of these creatures has claimed that tales of black-eyed children have existed since the 1980s, most sources indicate that the legend originated from 1996 postings, blah, 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 relating to two alleged encounters with black-eyed kids. He describes encountering two such children in Texas in 96 and claims that a second person had a similar unrelated encounter in Oregon. Bethel's stories... What the hell was that? I think my dog is awake. What? That was weird. Anyways, they basically... what does it say what they do? Yeah, I think I need
to... Scroll up. This is they fundraise for a film. Kickstarter.
Urban legend that's been floating around the internet for years. Always thought it was fascinating. Thought to have helped spread the legend on the internet.
I think the pasta guy had a bunch of teenagers trying to kill their friend over it.
Over what?
The Slender Man.
Oh,
that stupid internet thing that they were so convinced that they could meet him if they just killed their friend. Like,
yeah, that is so fucking weird.
And that's the thing that I think that grooming kids and all these transgenders are popping up because kids are so easily groomed into any idea that you can plant in them. Whatever Snopes says, the opposite is true. So
Snopes that's what I was going to say. It says Snopes filed black-eyed children under the same heading as Bigfoot. Believe it if you like, but realize that there's no evidence of their existence, just subjective testimony that ranges from reasonable to suspiciously fame whoring. Fame whoring? They said that? Fuck off, Snopes. This is real, and this is why you just don't answer the door for children's, because they's probably this. Sorry, little children's, but my neighbors is way nicer than me.
Well, I believe it now. If Snopes is debunking it, it's 100% true.
Okay, so that was... Let me go back to this. I'm going to let my dog out while this plays for a second.
Yep.
Seems clear. There is probably search the car. However, it's not always as simple as choosing between one of these scenarios. Facts can range from clear and obvious to obscure and everything in between. Probable cause to arrest is a separate analysis. It exists where the facts and circumstances within the officer's knowledge, and of which they have reasonably trustworthy information, are sufficient to warrant a person of reasonable caution in the belief that an offense has been committed or is being committed by the person arrested. There must be facts to show that the person committed or is in the process of committing a crime. Going back to the officer who had probable cause to search the car, strong evidence
Cops
of
don't know the
illegal
law first. The very
drugs
first
in
thing
the
you need to know is
case is
police have
probable
no
cause to
idea
arrest
what the
at
law
least the
actually
driver
is.
and any occupant who apparently has possession of illegal substances. The exclusionary rule and the fruit of the poisonous tree. The exclusionary rule dictates that evidence seized illegally by a government agent is inadmissible at trial. The rationale behind this rule is deterrence. The idea is that if the evidence is excluded at trial, it will force the government agents to follow the law and will
But it
deter
doesn't
them
work that
from
way because
violating the
cops
Fourth
don't get
Amendment.
punished for their
The
failures.
exclusionary rule is a relatively new doctrine in American jurisprudence. Its roots were in a 1914 case, Weeks versus the United States. Because that case involved the federal government, for many years it was not clear whether the exclusionary rule applied to the states. However,
Yeah.
in 1961, the Supreme Court decided Mapp versus Ohio, extending the
Maps.
exclusionary rule to states through the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment. Thus, regardless of how incriminating the evidence is, evidence seized illegally by law enforcement may not be
Right.
used
Because
against
fuck the
any
government,
state
fuck the
or
state. They
federal
should be held
criminal
to a
defendant.
high standard,
Moreover,
high
once
bar.
evidence is excluded, the fruit of the poisonous tree rule requires that all evidence that was obtained because of the illegally seized evidence is also inadmissible at trial. In Silverthorne Lumber Company versus the United States, the Supreme Court explained that the Fourth Amendment prohibited the government from gaining any advantage through illegally obtained evidence.
Yes.
The fruit of the poisonous tree rule can sometimes mandate harsh or even incongruous results. Take, for example, the case of a police officer who illegally searches a person's trunk and finds cocaine. The officer arrests the driver, and while conducting a search incident to the arrest, finds an illegal handgun in his pocket that is later tied to a murder. He then gets a warrant and searches the driver's house, where he finds 2 dead bodies in the basement, a stash of child porn on his computer, and 12 kilograms of methamphetamine behind the peanut butter in the kitchen pantry.
Then he commits
After being
suicide.
arrested, the suspect confesses to 3 murders, drug trafficking, running a child prostitution ring,
It's
and
all
to
thrown
being an
out.
all-around bad guy.
You're not
All
nice.
this evidence would be excluded under the fruit of the poisonous tree rule, including the confession, because none of this would have been obtained but for the illegal search of the trunk. It all grew from the poison tree of the initial illegal search.
Right.
Unless the government can find other clean evidence, this really, really bad guy will walk.
So
That's
if they
Brian.
have Brian's DNA,
You could
Hey.
soon lose your job.
illegally,
No. Relax. Let's listen to the whole thing because they're gonna if they got it illegally, but yes, you're right. If they got it illegally, but they didn't get his DNA legally, they got it perfectly legally.
No, they match the ID him. So if they never got his ID, they never would have known who he was. It would have been a John Doe DNA sample. So they'd still be looking
Right.
for John fucking Doe out there somewhere.
Right. And did the cops illegally ID him through the DNA system?
I think that's what the DNA expert was testifying at in the video we're going to watch after this.
It sounded to me like she was testifying that the lab illegally matched the DNA samples. I'm almost certain that these cops can't even read a DNA chart, let alone match one to somebody.
Either way, if it's still
Not either way. It's very, very matters how who did
okay,
this.
so say the lab did it
Yes.
against the rules, then it's still a poisonous tree post the lab.
No. Evidence because the poisonous tree can go from illegally seized evidence. That's not growing out of illegally seized evidence. That's somebody at the lab not doing their job perfectly.
So why wouldn't that be if they did so if it is hypothetically if it is Brian's
Was the
parents,
DNA given to the 23andMe illegally?
No. But
Okay.
if Brian's parents gave the DNA and said we do not want to share with law enforcement,
That has nothing to do with law enforcement. That has everything to do with the company not following their own rules.
I think the DNA expert will bring that up.
Okay. Well, let's finish this one and then we'll do that.
Yes.
Exceptions to the exclusionary rule. Over the years, the Supreme Court has carved out exceptions to the exclusionary rule and the fruit of the poisonous tree rule, largely to mitigate their harsh effects.
The benefit
In
of the
United
state.
States versus Leon, the Supreme Court carved out a good faith exception to the exclusionary rule. It allows the prosecution to use evidence obtained from an invalid warrant, so long as that warrant was executed by the police in good faith. Keep in mind that the exclusionary rule is meant as a deterrent, to convince police officers to respect the Fourth Amendment rights of suspects.
They don't even know what
You
Fourth
can't
Amendment rights
deter good faith.
Cops don't even know what the law is, so they don't care about your rights. They don't care about any of that. All their job is to go out there and round up people and throw them in jail so the prosecution can have something to do.
Yeah.
Most cops have no idea what the law is, because if you watch the like First Amendment auditors who go places, they have no idea what the First Amendment is, says, or does.
Yeah. Well, I don't. That's not a cop's problem. That's an American population problem. In general, that's why our immigrants, in my opinion, make better citizens. First of all, they've seen communism for the most part. They've gone through some hard shit. They understand they still have an American dream and not just this fake American utopia.
They now
bullshit.
have rights.
And they have
never
rights,
had
they
before.
have freedoms, they have liberty, but they also have to study for a particular test that taught them about what's enshrined, who the government is and what their fucking role is and who they are. And we are they, not they are they. And so they understand these rules way better than most of us.
That's why Democrats hate the Cubans, because the Cubans come over to Florida and they fucking love the Republicans. They love the Constitution. They hate fucking government overreach.
Yeah. But I don't think it's a cop problem, but you are correct. Most of them don't even understand which of your rights they're violating.
Should not be like part of your test. You should have to pass the same.
Yeah.
Before you even get your gun or to do all that stuff.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
Like I might even for police foundations and law and security, and we didn't even look at the Canadian Constitution once the whole time I was there. We just looked at how to do this, how to do that.
Yeah.
When you're arresting somebody, all you have to do is keep saying, "Quit resisting." No matter what they're doing, if they're resisting or not, just keep saying it, because if they,
they're like, listen, you don't need to know the ins and outs. You're just a cop, but if you have probable cause, you can do the arresting and you're the boss. And so you get there and you're like, what are you doing? You can't do this. And they're like, yes, I can. Let me talk to your supervisor. Then maybe they read the rules, because you can't do all that. And that's why you get the supervisor. And he has gone through this enough times, probably been in enough court cases, that he finally understands your rights. And he comes in, he's like, yeah, dudes, we can't fucking do this. Let's not.
But the supervisors don't care either, because they did the same thing. Because
the supervisors care a lot more than the beat cop shits.
No, because I have a video where the cops pulled me over for warning people about a speed trap, and then he was a dick. He wasn't allowed to do it. So I filed a complaint with the supervisor, not an official one. I just want to sit down and be like, hey, you got to tell this guy he can't do these things because it's against the law. And the supervisor was like, whatever, if he wants to steal your phone, he can do whatever he wants. I'm like, what? Fuck you, dude. I recorded it all.
What was his reasoning that if he wants to do that, he can?
Because from who? The supervisor or the first cop?
Both, I guess.
The supervisor's just doing a full-on protect the blue, whatever. Doesn't matter what you say. I'm like, the cop reached in my car, tried to steal my cell phone out of my hand, and the cop's like, well, I'm not going to talk about hypotheticals. I'm like, it's not a hypothetical. I have it on video right here for you to watch. I'm not going to talk about hypothetical cases. And that's how they just ignore that the cop's bad behavior, because they all do.
Didn't you say in Canada that they have, as if you're in your car on their roads, they have a right to seize whatever the fuck they want? So let him have his phone.
Yeah, but not.
That's the same thing.
No, my phone.
That's he's taking it during the search of your car. You shouldn't have had it in.
He didn't search my car. I was recording him, and he just tried to reach in and steal my phone because I was recording him.
Oh, it was in your hand. It wasn't like it wasn't mounted.
Yeah, so Dexter was in the car with me, angry because I'm agitated. So he's reaching into the car where Dexter can bite him. I'm like, dude, you're gonna get bit. Like, don't reach in this fucking car. Like, I'm helping you here. And as soon as he realized he was in the wrong, he's like, okay, we're done here. I'm going back to doing whatever I'm doing. But if I didn't record him, he probably would have tried to intimidate me, give me a ticket or whatever the fuck he wanted to do. But as soon as I recorded him, that's when because he talked to me for a few minutes before he got out his flashlight, because it was still daylight. But they're all trained as we were trained. Your flashlight disrupts your camera, so you can't be seen. So cops are trained to actively put your flashlight in people's cameras to fuck it up. And they're also now taught to play Disney music or stuff like that in the background to get you copyright striked off of YouTube. So if you're embarrassing them, you'll see people just playing. Cops will start playing Disney music.
Interesting. There's a case, Universal v. I don't know who the person is. Universal V.
Because the auditors were posting all the cop idiots on YouTube, and this is
Either way,
cops' way to have
they tried to copyright strike them for music in the background.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, the music isn't the point of the video, and they won. So go ahead,
Ooh.
cops. Again,
Did
learn your
they?
fucking rights. Yes.
But YouTube's going to let them take it down anyway, and you're going to have to fight to get it put back up.
It will be an appeal, but at some point, like Nick said, even, you know, broken clock, at some point they reject it and you get to go further. But so far YouTube is like, okay, yeah, fine, that's the law, that's the law, that's the law. But eventually somebody's going to bring a case and it's going to be said again.
But somebody has to pay money to have that happen, and the cops are conspiring with each other and sending this to all the departments. Like, hey, if you don't want to get embarrassed on YouTube, play this music in the background.
That's more embarrassing. Imagine you're fucking trying to intimidate some cop and you're like, okay, or some kid, pull out your phone and you start, let it snow or whatever that, let it freeze or whatever.
That's what the cops are doing.
I know, that's so fucking gay. That is hilarious. I'm never not posting that video, sir. You just busted out Disney music. Prance away, so it makes it better.
That should be almost not a criminal act, but something that a cop should get in trouble for. Like, you shouldn't be trying to.
Why?
Well, because the public has a right to film, and you're actively trying to stop them from filming you or posting about, like, I don't know. I think it's just dirty. I don't think a cop should be trying to protect their dirty deeds with copyrighted music. They should just not do dirty deeds.
Yeah, I don't see those being dirty deeds.
It's like they quit resisting
hating
right?
First Amendment auditor isn't a dirty deed. You can just hate these people and think they're pieces of shit because they ruin things, or because you want to be a shitty cop. You're like, I want to be a shitty cop. You fucking ruin things every time you come around. Even when I'm not doing dirty deeds, I'm gonna walk from here to there. There you are. Here's my song. Fine. I mean, at least they're finally attempting to do something. I don't know.
Like this is probably 20 years ago. My buddy just became a cop, and I was like, "So you wear your body camera?" He's like, "Fuck no."
You
like,
might. I mean,
why not? And I was like, "This is when I was a lefty, right?" I'm like, "How come?" He's like, well, the shit we do, I don't want to get in trouble for the stuff we do. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Is well, if I have to bust somebody up, I don't want to have to fucking defend it in court on video, whereas it can just be my word against his word, and my word's always taken as more believable than the perp. Like,
but why they're not required to have their cams on?
No, they accidentally turn them off. It gets bumped, or like.
Oh, the Epstein effect.
They're allowed to turn the cameras off, their body cameras off if they go to the bathroom. So if they want to go do something fucked up, they go to the bathroom, turn the camera off, and forget to turn it on when they come out of the bathroom.
Listen, okay, so in the Johnny Depp case, there's two different. The night that supposedly Depp beats up Amber for the last time,
yeah,
and before she shits in his bed.
Yeah, hiding in the fucking room to try and bust him. Yeah. Or Cal Pennington.
Yes, so the cops show up, and there's two there. There's footage from both men's body cams, and when they turn their cameras on, I swear, I might be hearing it wrong. I heard it so many times. I swear they say the coffee's hot, as if so they can. You don't want to be in trouble. Be like, did you tell them the camera's on?
Yeah, yep. They have. There's all kinds of codes.
Yeah, and I was like, did he say the coffee's hot? And I hear that it's really clear in the second video. I'm like, I'm almost certain that they're saying that is like, hey, dude, because
there's no coffee anywhere.
Coffee, it makes no sense. There's no coffee anywhere.
Yeah, they do.
But you want to be able to be like, hey, dude, don't fuck around. We're being recorded. None of the bullshit.
Because I watch cops where like cops will get arrested for drunk driving, and then like other cops show up, and you see them all do like, they won't say anything, but they'll look or they'll do signals or they're like. Are you like trying to like get the guy to like, are you on body cam? He's like, yeah, It's already turned on. Sorry.
Yep. That's messed up. But at the same time, we're not cops and we're not doing anything bad, but it's like, hey, I'm recording. Don't fuck around. It's different when you're recording.
Well, like when the cops handcuffed me at the DMV here because they wouldn't put a mask on, I had my camera in my breast pocket recording the whole time because I knew these people are fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, when the cops showed up, they didn't say anything, they didn't ask me any questions, they just grabbed me and started yanking me down to arrest me. Like, what are you doing? Like, and then one cop goes, hey, and he points to he wouldn't say it, there's a camera, he goes, hey, and points to my chest. And then they calm right the fuck down, we're sorry, let's work through this, blah, blah, blah. I'm like,
Oh,
what did that
wow.
woman in there tell you to call you guys? She's like, well, she said you were being violent and yelling and doing all. I'm like, really? Because you obviously know I have a camera. And they just put me in the back of the car. They went in and told her that I was recording the whole thing, that she filed a false police report. And they go, she's just going to let you go. You know, you want to get.
This
So I got to go
bitch.
in the building with cops on each side of me, do what I needed to do, get my license renewed, and then leave because this woman was going to be charged with filing a false police report. And the cops covered it up for her. But if I wouldn't have been recording, my ass would have been in fucking jail.
That's crazy. That's ridiculous.
And I'm the one that told them to call the cops. I'm like, you can't come in without a mask. I'm like, we're going to have to call the cops. Because I had a written exemption for a mask from my doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, here, it's right here. Like, we're not looking at it. We just don't take exemptions. Like, well, you're going to call the cops and they're going to tell you got to take it. I'm the one that requested the police.
Wait. So when they served you with the cops near you, were you wearing a mask?
No, fuck no. I've never put a mask on my face in my life. Never have, never will.
Yay.
I've been kicked out of Canadian Tire. I've been kicked out of
Hold on.
store.
I got to take the banner off. Now that you're talking like this, you're back to being an American. He's one of us.
No, never had a mask. Never, ever. Not
I like the
vaccinated.
mask. I like to hide behind it because I don't want to, I got resting bitch face, so it helps me. I got a mask and I have a cricket, so I printed a thing that says I have it. And so my mask says I have it, so they leave me alone. Fuck off. I don't care.
No, I stopped going into businesses because they wouldn't, fuck you.
Yeah, that's why I stopped listening to Viva, because he went bowling during COVID.
Oh,
he's like,
Viva's a Jew and he's weak and he just, whatever the authority tells Viva to do, he'll do.
No. He says he walked up to the bowling alley and he sees the signs and he was like, oh, this is blah, blah, blah. This is bad. This is against everything, yada, yada. But my daughter and her friend are here, so we've got to, I've promised them bowling. How about promise them fucking principles? How about show them something else? Yeah, no, that wasn't an option. So he goes in and the girls bowl, but guess what? Mr. Principals himself also bowls. I'm like, now you don't have to fucking give him extra money. And, within a month, my mug, I never bought merch from somebody, but I did buy Viva merch. My mug broke. And I'm like, that's Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. That was trash. I know it was trash. He didn't got no principles. He's Canadian.
I really enjoyed Viva,
same.
From the Freedom Convoy coming out, because he was a lefty. He was slowly getting red pilled.
He left me. I was gone by then. Fuck all that.
Oh, did you? I love watching him get red pilled. Like everyone. I like watching anyone get red pilled because it's like, wow, I've been lied to my whole life. I just enjoy it. It's my pleasure to watch people realize their whole life's been a lie.
Yeah, you're like, imagine you could have thought for yourself this whole time.
Yep.
Okay, we got to finish this. We're almost done.
Mistakes. If the police acted based on what they thought was a valid warrant, there would be no point in applying the exclusionary rule. However, where the magistrate or judge in issuing a warrant was misled by information in an affidavit that the affiant knew was false, or would have known was false except for his reckless disregard for the truth, then suppression would be required. In this case, there is no true good faith.
There you go. So that answers your question.
The good faith exception applies only where the police held a supposedly valid warrant. If the police make a warrantless search under what they believe is an exception to the warrant requirement, or where police conduct a search that they honestly believe there is no warrant required for, there is no applicable exception, and the exclusionary rule must be applied. Additionally, the Supreme Court has established the impeachment exception to the exclusionary rule. Even if evidence is excluded, if the defendant takes the stand in a criminal case and lies on the stand, then the prosecution can admit the illegally obtained and excluded evidence to impeach the defendant.
See?
So, for example, if the police illegally...
So if they use it to impeach him, what does that mean?
Prove that he's lied on the stand.
Right, but does that mean that evidence is now admissible in court? Like the gun, when you brought up the gun example.
They're going to give us an example right
here. Sorry.
So I think, let's hear, because I don't really know. If that becomes, I guess it would depend on if they have something to admit. I think they might just be able to talk about it, but let's hear.
Search the defendant's car and seize the defendant's cocaine, and the defendant testifies that he's never possessed cocaine in his life, the prosecution can introduce the seized cocaine to impeach that statement. However, it should be noted that this applies only to impeach the defendant, not to impeach other witnesses who may testify on the defendant's behalf.
But does that mean the cocaine is now in evidence, or just that he lied on the stand?
He just said he may admit, they can admit the evidence. So
Did they say they can admit the evidence, or they can just use
No, it
the
says they
evidence
can
to prove that he lied?
introduce the seized cocaine. So introduce it
Okay.
in words, maybe.
Yeah, that's weird. Like the gun,
Well,
when
because
you brought up the gun part, if I said I never owned a gun, and then you said that, okay, we do know that you owned a gun, that it's on the registry. Can that gun now be tested for ballistics to match the murder? Or just used to make me a liar on the stand?
oh, I see what you're saying. So if you can get the defendant to impeach themselves and bring in the evidence you need now to test, I don't
Is it
know.
only good enough to make him look like a liar on the stand?
I think it's only good for
can
the.
you now bring everything back in because he lied once?
That's a good question.
Because in my mind, I don't think they could do the ballistics on the gun now.
Hold on. So in order for it to be it's excluded, right? So they've already decided you can't use this,
Yes.
but they could have already used it, right? They could have already tested this thing. They're saying you can't use it because you didn't have a warrant. Okay, it's over there not being used. Now he's brought it up. Now, bam, we've not only brought it up, now can we use the tests we performed on? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because I think
I'm
you
curious.
impeached his honesty on the stand, so then now the jury can look at him like, oh, everything he says on the stand is a lie. We're gonna, take everything that he says is bullshit, and we're only gonna go on the evidence. But I don't think that means the ballistics match to the bullet of the gun is now in evidence.
Why not? Because can't you say so? We talked earlier about, or we mentioned, okay, so on cross, you're only allowed to cross on things that were brought up, right?
Yes.
So, okay, I guess that would have to actually be brought up during then.
So yeah, like if he said, I've never owned a gun, and the state goes, whoa, 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 you've never owned a gun? Well, here we have the gun registry that says you do own a gun, so...
No, because it can't be the gun registry thing. Here, the gun registry is illegal. It would have to be the gun. It has to be an illegal seizure of the thing or search. It has to be a Fourth Amendment violation, right? So it can't be just the fact that they lied and you're bringing this gun in. We have this evidence of this gun that we found during our illegal seizure, and we can't even talk about it because we fucking illegal seizured. And they're like, then he gets on the stand and he's like, I've never even seen guns in my whole entire life. There's never been a gun in my house. And they're like, wait a minute. We weren't allowed to talk about that. But now he's talking about we can bring up the gun. So then it's like, well, actually, sir, didn't we find this or something? I don't know how that would work.
Is that only for impeachment purposes? Like, is it limited in impeachment, or is it now open to whatever we want to open it to?
They're saying it's going to no longer be excluded. It can be introduced to impeach this statement, but if it's introduced, then it exists.
Is it narrowly constrained to only the impeachment aspect, or no?
I would say if you leave it there, but once they know about it, once we've talked about it, then we can reference it again, right? You remember that gun we found during that you never said you had? We tested that and it matched the murder or something. That's how I would do it.
I'm curious about that.
Because it says you introduce. If you've introduced it, now it's in the record. Now you can talk about it.
I guess my other thing is it limited to the only impeachment aspect?
Because they're bringing it up to explain how you get around the exclusionary rule, meaning now it's no longer an excluded piece of evidence. It makes me feel like this is the purpose it got brought in to impeach, but now it is in evidence around the exclusionary rule. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's why I'm giving it like a broad thing, like, booyah, now we've got it as our piece that we can use. But
we'll find out with this case, I
guess.
Chat,
if you're a lawyer, it's not us. I mean, we're pretty good at defamation, though.
Defamation.
I was looking up a bunch of the cases that we would usually talk about, and we're kind of jumping straight into this one because nothing is going on. As far as I could tell, everything is kind of, hurry up and wait. So there's months between any action. The Courtney Clenny one, the OnlyFans murderer, alleged murderer, she won't go on trial until next year. So that's the only other one that I can think of.
Yeah, this long ass waiting's crazy. Especially if you're in like any innocent person, these year-long trial is crazy.
Well, Brian waived his speedy trial thing.
Yeah, Brian did, but like Nick's, not murder case or anything. But
I mean,
what is a speedy, like, what, do you know what the time length is for a speedy trial? Like, how long does the defendant get to wait and go, hey, we're 3 days over the speedy trial, fucking, is there a time limit? Or is
that's
it
a good
case by
question.
case?
I don't know. I wouldn't. A speedy trial. Oh, the trial must commence within 70 days from the date of
Wow, that's
information or
fast.
indictment was filed, or from the date the defendant appears before an officer in the court, which is charged pending. I wonder if it's different.
It's probably state by state. But 70 days, that doesn't seem very long to me. 2 months. Oh, Canada's 18.
Prisoner to be violated if the trial does not begin within 18 months of the charges being filed or 30 months.
So
Canada.
hypothetically, bullshit, just making stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
You could just keep doing shit to have your trial date moved, like your friend calls it a bomb threat to the courthouse, or someone dumps a load of gravel in front of the prosecutor's house so he can't get to court that day, and it keeps getting like bumped a week. I wonder if that could be a doable thing, or would you get the state be able to appeal and stretch out the date? Because the defendant did nothing wrong. Other people are doing shit to the court and making the court. Like say the courtroom had a flood and they needed 2 weeks off. Does that extend your 2 weeks, or are you a winner in the defendant's eyes? And hey, I get a free 2 weeks. You know.
Well, as long as they start your trial, then it doesn't really matter if it keeps being all that other stuff, right? You're saying so if somehow some entity can delay your trial starting, I think. Yeah. I mean. I guess if the
like say I went down and lit
the
the prosecutor's chambers on fire and burned up a bunch of shit, and that delayed the prosecutor getting all the shit organized again, and would that be my speedy trial? Like, because wasn't that what?
Well, if you did it on your own behalf.
No, well, not me. Like somebody, like if I'm a gang member and I'm like a Hell's Angels, and another Hell's Angels went in and burned his office down, does that mean I get out of my speedy trial because he, needed another month to get all the shit together? Right.
I doubt it. I mean, you're still people going like, hello, we saw that. Let's file motions to. I'm sure there's remedies for that in the system. Or they go, hey, were you a part of this? And you're like, nope. They're like, you want to waive your right to speedy trial because this happened? You'll be like, yeah, sure, I'll do that.
Right. Fuck no. I'm getting out next week. My boys.
You're like, I had nothing to do with it. That's Jesus.
Like if they I'm just making up crazy theories now, but like you're the prosecutor and you're going to the trial that day, and one of my buddies like drives you off the road into the ditch. Oh, you missed court that week because you were in the hospital recovering.
Well, that can happen, but it can't happen too often. I think that's the good thing about judges seeing the same attorneys so often, because you're like, yeah, dude, your wife isn't sick. She didn't have another baby. You don't have diarrhea. There's no traffic.
The whole Kim Potter case. Remember that? She was just fucking off every court case, so all these people were getting let go for their not getting the trial. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember that at all.
We did the Kim.
Yeah, I remember her.
Gardner case.
Oh, I don't know about Gardner. No,
remember she was the prosecutor who was fucking off on a job and going to university, and all these defendants were getting let go because they weren't making their speedy trial dates.
Yeah, that I do remember. She's retired. She resigned.
Yeah, so that was the state doing it, and it worked. So I'm wondering if defense can do it against the state and make it work in there somehow.
Yeah, I mean,
questions.
These are questions. All right, let's go.
However, it should be noted that this applies only to impeach the defendant, not to impeach other witnesses who may testify on the defendant's behalf.
Oh, wait.
Exceptions to the fruit of the poisonous tree rule. Where illegally obtained evidence leads to the discovery of other evidence, the fruits of the poisonous tree can still be admissible if there was an independent source of that evidence.
This is where I wasn't sure if the lab is going to be considered the independent source. See, the poison tree is the cops and all whatever they're doing and how they're blah, blah, blah. But then the lab over there, that just might be
What if it was the lab that was the wrongdoer? The cops did everything right. They collected everything perfect. They didn't do anything wrong, nothing illegal. But the lab did the illegal act by matching Brian's DNA when they weren't supposed to match it.
That's exactly what seems like happened here, and that's what this is going to say. Then it's still going to be admissible because the evidence it's about collecting the evidence. These are cops bound by the Fourth Amendment. The lab isn't like my privacy. Remember, I don't know how it works. If I'm being honest,
we're working it out.
Okay, let's keep listening.
So if based on evidence found on an illegal search, police find a trove of guns or narcotics, but police can show that another witness had told or was about to tell the police of the location of the same trove, it is admissible. Here, the evidence would have been discovered even without the illegal search, and so it is not considered tainted evidence.
I can understand that part.
I don't understand. No, see, that confused me.
So, like, if my neighbor has a bunch of guns and drugs in his house, and I see the cops pull in and they did their illegal search and stuff, but the day before I wrote up a big email to report them to the cops, and I sent it off, and the cops just haven't checked their email yet about, hey, I was over there, I saw all of his guns, they're all illegal, he's got drugs over there, he's got hookers in the basement, and I sent that to the RCMP, and they haven't even opened the email yet. Their illegal search that they did the night before, everything's thrown out, but then they go, wait, we have this email that we checked yesterday, and that would have led us to the house anyway, so I think that's the thing.
Yeah, but that can't be, I think that's what's fucking me up, is that's such a silly example.
Ways. One way gets thrown out and the other way gets to come right in.
It's funny. It lost me right when it started making sense to you. I'm like, at least one of us is always paying real close attention. Let's hear it.
The next exception is the rule of attenuation, which allows a court to admit otherwise inadmissible evidence when it is sufficiently separated from the initial illegal discovery of the evidence. This idea is somewhat similar to the independent source doctrine, that the attenuation dissipates the illegal taint. In Brown v. Illinois, the Supreme Court laid out 3 factors which courts should consider when determining whether the violation is sufficiently separated from the initial taint. I didn't know this. 1. The length of time between the illegality and the seizure of the evidence. 2. The presence of additional intervening factors. And 3. The degree and purpose of the official misconduct.
I don't find official misconduct, because it has to be the only people that plant and water and pull from the fruit of the poisonous tree are the police. The police, the state, are them, right? So if the lab did it, we got to listen to that lady. Sorry, what if what?
What if the lab did their initial test and didn't find Brian, and then the cops said, did you look into the 23andMe special folder? And no, we didn't do that. I'll go check now. Would that then now be poisonous? Because
so they do their initial check and
found nothing.
No.
And then the police go, oh, you didn't find anything? Wait, did you look in the special folder section? And the lab goes, no, we didn't. Let me go check. And then they go, yes, that's it. We found a match. Did the police initiate the special folder check? Even though it was the lab's completely independent, did whatever they wanted to do. The police didn't say, go look in that special folder. They just said, did you?
No. I feel like this is a stretch. If they said, go look in this to the lab, and the lab was like, okay, we did this illegal search for you. No, unless they issued a warrant or something, then the lab is independent, I think. Or I guess if they come in and say, no, they forced me to give, like, that doesn't even make sense.
If they check the box, paid by the police, are they independent, or are they an agent of the police?
Fully funded, or in this instance?
Well, I think per case, it would be fully funded for Brian's case.
No. Fully funded as an entity, I would say yes. If they are wholly supported by the police department, then they work for them. If they are paid case by case, they don't work for them.
What if 80% of the revenue is from the police and 20% is from private defendants? Or even say 50-50. 50% it's from police, 50% is from the public.
50-50 doesn't matter as much. 80-20, I would have said they definitely have a vested interest in not burning something. But the cops should be, if the cops are looking for justice, if that truly is the thing, then you shouldn't, no one should be married to the outcome, but only to find the information. So who fucking cares if every time you send me something, I come back and say, hey, it's Gene instead of John? Like, no one should care. So honestly, at the end of the day, it really shouldn't matter unless cops are
unless the cops send it to the lab saying, can you match this to Brian?
That's ridiculous.
Well, that's
I want to know how they know it was male DNA.
Right. And only tested Brian's and not all 4.
No. They had to have tested all 4.
Yes.
Or they don't know
they
it's
tested
male
all
DNA.
4 for the samples, but they didn't put them all into the same database that they found Brian in.
Allegedly. And the prosecution, the state says that's crazy. That doesn't make any sense. You have everything we have. So why do you say? Because here's the thing. Their state is trying to say they could have something in here that proves Brian is innocent. Because they don't understand, not they perfectly understand. Layman people like me and you and most people who are watching this court of public opinion where they decided to try this case for right now. They don't understand that exculpatory evidence has to be turned over no matter who has it by the laws. There's already a law. So if they have something that gets Brian off, they already have to tell you. They don't get to just be like, we're keeping this.
It might not even get Brian off. It may just make reasonable doubt.
Jonathan.
Hey, good morning. We're early today.
He said you sound a bit canny, like you're speaking through. Yeah, our microphones is really having a weekend.
Is that any better? Oh, wait, I wonder if I unplugged it, if it went back to those stupid settings.
Oh, that's true. Let
me check.
I'll keep playing this for a second.
Nope, it's still on the same one.
Suppose an officer stops a person with no basis, constituting an unlawful seizure.
Mm-hmm.
Following the stop, the officer runs the driver's information. In the course of this search, he pulls up an outstanding arrest warrant. The officer arrests the person, searches him, and finds a bag of cocaine, a wad of cash, and a small ledger with what looks to be customer information pertaining to drug sales. Notwithstanding the illegal stop, a court could find that the outstanding arrest warrant attenuated the connection between the unlawful stop and the evidence seized incident to the arrest. The court would consider the intervening factor of the outstanding warrant, which was obviously not a product of police misconduct, and may also consider whether the police officer originally made the stop with some colorable basis to believe that it was legitimate. If the initial stop was an honest mistake, the court could conceivably rule that the illegal stop was far enough removed from the ultimate search to avoid applying the fruit of the poisonous tree rule, even though the stop was certainly the but-for cause of finding the cocaine. Finally, another exception to the exclusionary rule is what is called the inevitable discovery exception. The court established the inevitable discovery exception in 1984 in Nix v. Williams. The inevitable discovery exception allows evidence to be used if the government would have found the evidence regardless of the illegality.
Yeah.
As an example, assume officers pull over a defendant for driving under the influence and place him under arrest. Before taking the defendant to the station, the officers illegally open the trunk and find illegal guns. Although the officers illegally opened the trunk, the officers were going to tow the vehicle down to the station and perform an inventory search to secure the defendant's belongings anyway. As such, the guns would have been discovered in short order even without the illegal search.
And it's almost exactly the same with Brian's DNA. They acquired it legally. They were eventually going to match it. Right?
Oh, that's another conspiracy I saw, was that when Brian handed the cops his driver's license, that's where the cops got his...
You heard that from this stupid fucking video that you want me to watch. Excuse my French, chat. God damn, it's such a stupid theory. What did he do? He got it on his hand and then he went back to his car and he's like, I got you touch DNA. I'm going to take this to another step. That's why that video is fucking stupid. One of the many reasons why that video is fucking stupid.
There is some good stuff in it, though. Not the whole video.
No, there's not.
I think the DNA person talking, I think, brings up good points.
Yeah, you're right. We will see that. But
not
why watch it there? Why not just watch the whole thing from Court TV, the real thing, instead of
I didn't know. We can. Yeah, no, we totally could.
because it's so frustrating.
I just thought it'd be better with a little clipped down version.
Yeah, because then we lose the information that makes it a whole understandable thing. Or like you can't clip out lawsuit shit. It's like
Okay, do you want to do that? Do you want
the
to watch
words
this,
absolutely matter.
this crazy little clip version?
I
and
mean,
then next Monday watch the
yeah.
full entirety to see what's fucked up about it?
That's actually a good thing to do if you think about it. Maybe not this show, but you're right. Like when we come across something like that,
we're gonna do Brian Mondays or something.
or even this stupid video, not this stupid video. I don't mean to keep talking shit about it, but oh wait, that's not the one. Where's the one you sent? This one. We're gonna watch here where this lady, I went to an ad, starts talking, but in the end of this video, they use her again. She's the lady from the lab.
And that's the one the FBI sent to her house to intimidate her.
That's the one that FBI went to talk to her. Why do you just listen to what these fucking people tell you? They're still lawyers. It's like Nick Rekieta telling you the story about this lady. Just remember, they're retarded.
Why would the FBI show up at a witness's house after she testified?
Well, we don't learn from this video why, but we could watch the whole thing and see what they said to. So the lady stands up and like, they went to intimidate my witness. And the guy was like, well, I called the FBI and we asked about that. And this lady has signed some papers and I don't know what. And the defense stands back up and they're like, well, that's new information. That obviously changes things. Like, oh, but here we are talking about it, aren't we? So
Let's see what
stupid.
she has to say. Okay,
let me make sure that we're finished with this other. We are done. There's only 10 seconds left. We'll go to.
So we have a vague understanding of the rules and the exceptions to these rules.
Yeah.
Which I think is crazy. I think the state makes an exception to every rule just so they can use it.
Oh, look, I almost nailed it at 4:20 and I didn't mean to. It's a sign from the Lord Jesus. Let's hear. Let's see if this is the worst part to pick it up.
University of Idaho students.
And I will say that we have found an Elantra.
Lawyers say none of the victims' DNA was found in KOHBERGER's apartment, home, office, or car. KOHBERGER's attorneys say.
Is that what it was, an Elantra?
That's what they said. We found an Elantra. They didn't say whose or what or why. Like, why were you looking for an Elantra?
See the materials
from the cams.
But how many other cars will buy those cams too? Why was it only
not that many? That's probably. I think that's the whole thing. It was like 2, 3 in the morning, right? And that one was in this neighborhood at that time.
Okay. I was thinking it could have been like that white truck that was seen.
Labeled a suspect. Prosecutors do not want to turn that information over to the defense and have asked the judge for a protective order.
This guy looks like he's trying to look innocent. I don't like him.
It may reveal some information the prosecution doesn't want to be revealed, but the bottom line is, if this can help the defense, what if it turns out that there was a procedure that was done faulty, and it turns out that the defense could have gotten an expert to talk about that, and it's hurting the defense team. And while, you know, obviously we do want for this to be the right defendant, and we do want for this case to conclude, if it is wrong, we ought to know that from the beginning. And I think they should turn over what they have.
And they said they have turned over what they have. Okay, what does the defense expert say?
The attorney needs to know how these family trees have been developed, because we're talking now about trial issues, and the government is introducing the STR profile. They have to introduce statistics that explain the significance of any STR match that the government is identifying as central to its case. And so the defense must.
Hey, Nova, what does STR stand for?
No clue at all. I assume it's
but what they did show you, this super dope graphic about this. But they're not teaching you anything. They're telling you what to believe, and they're making it seem really fucking believable.
I assume the STR profile is just like the genetic code that matches familiar kin.
Yeah, we could do some extra research. I'm just saying this video isn't going to tell us shit.
Like how the 23andMe tells you have like a fourth cousin somewhere. That I think that's the STR profile.
I'll believe you.
STR profile they have to introduce statistics that explain the significance of any STR match that the government is identifying as central to its case. And so the defense must investigate ways to cross-examine those statistics and the rarity of that match that the government is attaching great significance to.
And the IgG process?
That's the Andrea Burkhardt talks about this. It is something to do with like the genetic, the way they break the DNA. I can't remember how she puts it, but she
Sounds
brings
like the same thing as the STR profile.
it's similar, but I think it's the process they use to get the STR profile.
Okay, so the
Maybe.
machines or whatever.
Yeah, like
Occur in the IgG. Okay. Wait. It was from his stuff. Oh, okay. Because they submitted the buckle and the knife sheath. Okay, never mind.
Then you've got real problems for the prosecution.
If you were to take a DNA test of ancestry and want to upload to GEDmatch, when you input that file, it's going to ask you, do you consent to law enforcement matching? And if you hit no, and I am working violent crime non-DOE case, I should not be able to see that you are a match to my unknown DNA contributor. You said should not. Should not. Does it happen anyway?
Oh, incriminate yourself.
It does. It has. And
I think the lab gets to see it, but the lab's not supposed to forward it to the police, maybe.
With GEDmatch, it's just if you upload it and all of a sudden they say you shouldn't have and did.
There was.
So she's done it in the past.
There are a lot of tools that are available in GEDmatch. These tools allow you to make comparisons of two or more people and how they relate to each other and share DNA. One of these tools allows you to compare many matches, not only against your DNA profile that you're working, but also against all of their matches. So if you see that the subject matches one of these people, because again, you're not looking at your subject's
I don't know what we
matches.
missed there, but we obviously missed something in that edit.
It was probably an objection or something.
I mean, you'd hope, right? Because they wouldn't just narrate their own little.
Well, that's what we're going to do Monday. We're going to watch
Right.
this full video Monday to see what bullshit they cut out.
Well, we'll keep watching. Maybe it won't be necessary.
You're looking at that person's top cousin, let's say, that top cousin's matches, right? When you put your subject's kit number in there, you're going to see now his kit, her kit, compared against the matches of their top match.
Oh my God. Is this the OJ Simpson trial again? What did she just tell us? Okay, so I understand she's trying to tell the truth without incriminating herself too much and probably make it understandable.
Yes.
But I don't know what do you know what she's saying?
She's saying that so when they bring up they put Brian's DNA profile in the system and it goes through the whole system and it brings up all the possible matches on this side, but 4 are highlighted red because those people opted out not to share their DNA with police. But one of those 4 ended up being Brian's dad, who opted out, which means she can see it, but she's not supposed to give that information to the police. So the researcher, the studier can see it, can view it all, but the 4 that were highlighted opted out of police matching. So she was never supposed to forward that to the police for them to go, hey, it's Brian's dad. So it had to be Brian's DNA.
But that, again, if that's how this has happened, I don't find that to be fruit of any poisonous tree.
I certainly do. If I said I don't want my DNA matched in the police database and they start matching me up to shit, fuck no. That's why I opted out.
That's out of a set. There's a different tree. The cops are working under good faith that this bitch isn't going to lie to them and fuck up her job.
Then again, 80% of your funding just gets cut.
You made that up?
I did make that up. But that's why that they cooperate with law enforcement so much.
We're not going to operate on the thing.
I think cops go into places and say, find this match for us. Not like,
yeah, I mean, yeah, we're looking for a killer. Find its match. Obviously, that's what this lady's doing. That's what everyone is doing here.
But as soon as they saw that it was in that red category where you're not allowed to match, that's the poisonous tree. So once it goes from the red match,
no, the poisonous tree, she doesn't get to plant or pluck fruit from the tree. She's not a law enforcement person. She doesn't collect evidence. She's just helping them out. She's like the other tree.
Who paid for the DNA? Whoever's the employer, you're an agent of that person.
So because the state has to pay for all of the stuff that the state defends against, that everyone that they use evidence from is compromised. That's ridiculous.
If I hire a third,
that's why they're sworn under oath that they won't lie.
No, if I hire a contractor and that contractor does something fucked up, the homeowner can sue me because I hired the third. He's my agent. The third party is my agent. So I'm
if
responsible
you hire
for
a contractor, what homeowner?
So I own my house. I hire.
You're the okay.
You own your house, and you hire me as a general contractor to do a renovation, put a new.
Okay, right. We're using your permit, your license.
Yes, and I hire a bunch of little Mexican guys that have no idea what the building codes are, and the building inspector shows up and goes, "Whoa, you guys these are all violations. Here's $50,000 in fine. You get to sue me, not the little Mexican dudes."
Right, they work for you.
They're my agents.
Right.
Which is what I think this lab is the agent of the police when they are getting funds for this case. So for each individual case, I think so.
No.
I think they become an agent of the police. Because the police hired them to do the matching. So therefore, once you're employed by the police force for this case alone, you're an agent, I think.
I don't think that makes any sense. I disagree. I disavow. What if the Mexican dudes aren't little but regular size?
Could be.
Then you sue their asses. If they tall, they getting it. They can all get it.
So outside the BRYAN case, do you think that there are any agents of the police?
Agents. I mean, your paramedics are agents of the, well, not the police. Agents of the police. Let me look this up. Maybe I don't understand
like
what agent means.
A snitch, informant. It's a paid informant by the police, right?
A paid informant is an agent? That's what you're saying? No, I don't. What was your question again? Then I don't think this lab is an agent.
People who
paid
are paid
informant is what agent
by
means.
the police are the agents of the police. Like a subcontractor is an agent of the general contractor. Like say the police hired a private investigator, and the private investigator doesn't have the same rules the police have to go in and look in windows and walk in backyards and stuff. And he goes, yeah, I looked in her back window. I looked in the yard and I could see that she had a bunch of cocaine in her bedroom looking through her back window. Is he an agent of the police?
No.
So
I think he's working independently. These are all independent.
No, but the cops hired him.
So?
What do you mean so?
I can't. What does that make you? They aren't responsible for you in that case. You, as a general contractor, you pay them and 1099 these people at the end of the year. You are their boss. Hiring somebody doesn't make you their boss. You're
an agent. Like, so if I wanted to find cocaine in your house and I'm a cop and I can't go peeking in your windows, that's against the law. I don't have any reasonable grounds to go looking through your house. I just don't like you, and I know you do cocaine, so I want to find it in your house. I just hired Joe Blow, private investigator from the Yellow Pages. Say, hey, I want you to find me evidence that this girl has cocaine in her house. He goes, sure, give me $50. I'll find out whatever you need. He goes down to her house, takes all the pictures in your window, gives it to the cops. The cops, you don't think that's an agent of the officers?
He's working for you, so yeah, I guess I mean, I don't know what this agent of that. I feel like you're trying to hammer me. I don't. This seems like an official thing. I don't know. I do think if you go out and buy someone to do a thing for you, then obviously, I don't know. Obviously, they're not your boss. You just, I don't know.
So what do you think? Do you think that that would be the agent? So if I'm a police officer and I know I have no proof and I can't prove it, I just know that you're a party girl and have a lot of coke in your house. I'm not allowed to go on your property because that'll be the Fourth Amendment violation. So I'm like, fuck, I can't even go look at a property. But I can hire a private investigator who's an impartial third person who.
Well, you're not allowed to do that either. You'd have to be acting outside of.
No, I know I'm not allowed to do that, but I do it.
Okay, well, that's illegal.
And that's what I mean, because he's my agent. He's acting on my request.
No, it's illegal to go searching for something that you don't have probable cause for in the first place as a police officer.
It's not illegal for me to go wander around your house.
It is. It's illegal for everyone. The cops aren't specifically everyone has to stay.
I can't violate your Fourth Amendment
property.
right.
I guess you don't have signs.
I can't violate your Fourth. Only police can violate your Fourth Amendment right.
Okay.
Right? No?
I mean, I have a right to privacy regardless from everyone, I'm pretty sure. Maybe
Right,
not.
privacy,
In my house, I don't. Either way, the cops, in their capacity as police officers, aren't allowed without probable cause to do any type of searching. I guess maybe you could hire. Why would they hire? Aren't they investigators? Why would they hire?
This is what I mean. This is how they get around the Fourth Amendment issues, is they hire a private investigator for cash or a DNA.
No, because they have to tell you where the evidence came from.
No, they don't. It can be a confidential informant.
Oh, a confidential informant sent us an email yesterday. We were always going to go to your house and find your cocaine. We just came early,
right,
or something like that. I don't. Okay, so let me think. That person is an informant.
So is that an agent of the police?
Is that an agent?
Because you know how they'll find like crackheads and they'll flip them to find the big dealer? They'll pay them.
I guess if you're working. Okay. If you're working.
I think if you receive funds from a government, from a police department, if you receive funds from a police department, I consider you an agent of the police department.
An agent of the police department.
Just like my subcontractors are my agents. Because they can't, you can't sue them. They got no fucking money. I got all the money. You're gonna sue me because my agents fucked up your house.
You can sue them if they punch you on their house, you can sue them. But if they do something that is related to the work, that's your responsibility. It has nothing to do with the fact.
What if the Mexicans built you a really nice bedroom and they did everything perfect, but they scouted your house and cut all your security cameras and came back and robbed you a month later and got caught?
That is their problem and not the boss's problem.
I'd sue the general contractor for putting them on my
property. Are you
property.
fucking kidding me?
Nope.
That's ridiculous.
I think if you're paid by the cops, you're an agent of the cops. I should
forever.
Yes. Well, no, just for that case. Just for each individual case.
I mean, I can see why.
The same way that if she was only a DNA company for the defense, she would be an agent of the defense.
Darth Hadia said you're an agent of the police, and he knew he was a snitch. And he only half unsubscribed. He just subscribed from the Nova side of things, maybe.
He missed the first part of the show where it was
gets
my
all
show.
his police knowledge from 80s movies. All his police knowledge, all his everything knowledge comes from some kind of TV show. He's like, when were men the most masculine? In the 80s movies? Okay, never mind.
Yes, it's fact. Hashtag facts.
Okay, let's go.
Keep going
Let's
with her.
yeah.
When you find, you then scroll down and you look, oh, here's
No. Yeah, he said the cops don't put forced snitching on your check.
No, they put confidential informant on your check.
a match for 100 cents.
That's how they flip.
Okay, yeah, I heard this before. Let me go back to
Look.
this.
Against the matches of their top match. When you find, you then scroll down and you look, oh, here's a match for 100 centimorgans. Go back to your screen where you have your list of your subject matches and you say, I don't have a match with 100 centimorgans.
Okay, so she finds 100 centimorgans. She goes to her suspect, which is who the suspect in that case are the DNA samples from the first lab, allegedly.
I don't know. As I said, I
Well.
think we should watch this Monday, like the full testimony to see. I assume the centimorgans is just like the sliver of a DNA sample, not like a whole.
Like meaning if there are 112 bars, 100 of them match or something like that. The centimorgan. What the fuck is a centimorgan? God damn it. Hold on. Yes, the googs.
I'm gonna guess that it's just the little joining parts between the DNA strands. You know, it's like 2 strings and then all the conjoining parts. I think the 100 centimorgans is like 100 of these little strands in between.
The distance between chromosome positions for which the expected average number of intervening chromosomal crossover is in a single generation is 0.01. Oh, so 100 centimorgans puts this. It's that like it's harder, probably like that's when the match becomes like there's no one else on the North American continent that could have been related to physical distance. Okay, so hold on, let's listen to this woman again.
Yeah, because her whole in-court testimony might tell us what all this is. Because she would have had to explain centimorgans to the jury, wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
Or to the judge.
That's what I'm saying. It's like OJ all over again.
I didn't watch the OJ case. I just watched the verdict.
Well, there was DNA, but it was like the way that it was explained was like, well, first of all, it was like 1990.
Yeah,
you know, we're going. Yeah, we know what DNA is. We totally know. And then they say centimorgans and all this other shit, and you're like, innocent.
That proves that that person has opted out of law enforcement matching, but I'm still able to see them.
That's what I said. That was that red flag.
That's a way to use the tool to get past what law enforcement is supposed to do.
Hold on.
Matching, but I'm still able to see that. I don't have a match with morgans.
Okay. Sorry, this is just
down.
You scroll down.
You remember what I said about the list where there was like 4 highlighted that the police weren't supposed to get, but the DNA center can view them?
Right.
I think that's what she's saying is that in my non-police check, there was 0, but when I do my little non-police check, there are 4 matches because these are the people that opted out.
She's just trying to explain how it can happen regardless of my police check or my non-police check, how an individual sitting behind this computer has access to the data and can see things.
Like I think so GED, so say it's like a website like Facebook where the DNA center can log into it and the police can log into it. Okay. And I think when the police log into it to do the DNA match, 50 samples come up, but when the DNA center does their match, because they're not restricted with the police sharing, 60 matches come up. So the DNA
You
center,
think that's what she's saying?
Yeah, the DNA center gets 60 matches with the police, where they have a limited view, only get the 50 because the 10 over here opted out. So the police.
I think it's all on her side. I don't think the police, because they have a database that they ran this through, right? And they're like, oh well, whoever this is, it hasn't been arrested. So they're going now to 23andMe or whatever this place was called, Jed.
Yeah, Jed.
We need to look up this and see what this is. But so they're going, I don't know how they found out this. Maybe this is where the poison tree comes in. How did they find out that the dad even had done this DNA ancestry thing?
That's the part where I think that's the opted out of police searches part comes in.
No, how do they know? You have to figure out how to get, like, there's this opted out of police searches thing, but it exists on Jupiter. How did they know to go to Jupiter to even look here?
I've never heard the term Jupiter before.
I just made that up. It's a planet.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. It exists. It's a piece of information that exists somewhere in the universe, but how did they know to go, you know what I mean? Like a hunch?
Here's a question. So if you opt out of the police search, so like when I put my DNA in 23andMe, it'll show up like cousins every once in a while. Let's say like I go in and I look up, oh, I have 14 cousins from yesterday. But if the police did the same search, they couldn't get 10 of my cousins because 4 of them opted out. But so I can view it as a layman nobody. I'm allowed to see it, and anybody in public can see it, except for the police.
If they're searching for it in a non-DOE case.
Yeah, in the JED data. I assume JED, the GED, is, I assume that's 23andMe, Ancestry. I think it's all of them combined is like one big.
It is?
I think that's my guess.
That's the problem, is that you've watched how many of these, not your personal problem, but instead of giving us their solving the crime for us, why don't you help us understand what you're even saying?
Yes.
GED.
I assume that this whole trial, they explain what that GED database was. So I think that's why we should watch that Monday. Next Monday. We should watch her whole testimony.
I think this is just another 23andMe. Comprehensive solutions for genetic genealogy and family tree search. GEDmatch provides more applications for comparing your DNA test results with the most people worldwide. There's not that many people even use it.
I've never heard of GEDmatch before either.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like a cheap 23andMe probably.
I'll go back up. Accept results from 23andMe, Ancestry, DNA. See?
Okay. So if you have used one of these, you can also send it to GEDmatch to see if your DNA matches.
I think GED matches all of those.
No. Okay, hold on. View our application. Why don't we just have them tell us?
I think
No. It says we accepts results.
That's what I mean.
Oh, you think automatically?
I think all those are in one big pool together, and they all share it.
I think you have to say, hey, I did a 23andMe, but I wonder if one of my ancestors did a family tree DNA. Let's put it into GEDmatch and see if they are here.
Yes.
But that's not like a database that is doing that automatically, right? So how the hell did they know that Bryan? Oh, they didn't. They're saying, hey, okay. Maybe the way that they got here. So this GEDmatch assumes, you got your DNA legally, which they did.
Yep.
And they say, hey, GEDmatch, we know that you will search through all of these. If it was ever input into these, you'll search through all of these for me and match this DNA. Then GEDmatch says, okay, now let's listen to what the woman has to say. Because then the GEDmatch is going to say, hey, we did find these matches or this particular match. Oh, so confusing. I'm sorry this is confusing, chat. Let's see.
No, it's good. We're working it all out. It's awesome. Hey, beautiful. Good morning. What the flock? What's up, buddy?
Oh, my attorney's in the house. Hey.
When you then scroll down and you look, oh, here's a match for 100 centimorgans. You go back to your screen where you have your list of your subject matches and you say, I don't have a match with 100 centimorgans. That proves that person has opted out of law enforcement matching.
Yes.
You're able to see them.
I don't understand.
What?
God, this is confusing. Okay, so she's got 100 centimorgan thing on one side, and she says over here, I'm so sorry, I have to do this again.
On the left side is 100 samples. On the right side is the police samples, but only 50 because 50 people opted out.
No.
That's what she's saying. So the police are only allowed to see this side.
No, she's
The
not
DNA
talking about the
center
police.
is
She's
allowed to
talking
see-
about her, only her, this woman, particularly
She's the-
behind the desk.
Yeah, she's a general public. That's what I mean. The general,
She's a
me,
fucking
you, yes, that's
forensic
what I'm saying.
analysis or
No, the
yes.
public. No, listen. The public is you, me, her, everybody. Everybody can view these 100 samples. The police, however, are only allowed to view 50 because 50 of them opted out. So the police have a smaller.
Right. Overall, that's the thing. But she's
you and
saying what
occupied it, but
happened
the
right
police are
here
not
in this
allowed.
instance, what she is doing in her purview, she can see these things. That's where I'm confused, not about anything else. I'm only confused with she's saying, I have a match. And
she's saying that I'm looking for Brian's on the police search base and I can't find it. But if I look in the general public search base where the rules don't apply,
I found it. Okay. I think
so
I
the police are
understand that.
using that to get around.
No,
there.
the police are the police, or did she just, I guess we don't know that part.
I think that's why she's like, how did the police match these? Because they're not allowed to match it, whereas the general public is.
Here's the match for 100 centimorgans. So here's the match. You have your list of your subject matches.
Your subject matches, and you say, I don't have a match with 100 centimorgans.
I don't have a match. I don't see a match. Okay, so she's saying, here, dear cops, no match.
No
right?
match,
That's
yeah.
where we're at right now in
The
her
list
story.
that the police are allowed to view.
No,
has
no,
match.
that's just where we're at this story. She has no match.
That proves that that person has opted out of law enforcement matching.
Okay.
But I'm still able to see them.
Right.
But I'm still able to see them.
That's what I'm trying to say. This is the police search. This is her search. So she gets to see all the searches. The police only get to see the people who opted in. So when she searches the database, the police version, she couldn't see it. So she has no idea how the police got it because she can't see it with the police's search. She can see it with the general public search, but she cannot see it with the police search. So how did they get it when she could only see it with the general public search?
Yeah, she's going to fucking give it to him. Okay, I guess we'll listen.
That's a way to use the tool to get past what law enforcement is supposed to do.
I struggle with this. I'm sorry. It is a tool that is provided in the database that essentially allows you to see things that you're not supposed to see.
So she tried to say, this is how the police get around this. And she's like, well, no, this is not that. This is just something that you can see that you're not supposed to see. She's not saying this is how the police get around this, right?
No, that's exactly what she said. Remember, the police are allowed to look at these 50. And to get around that.
She's not saying the police are doing this. She's saying physically the human being sitting behind the desk, her, saw this match, even though it's not available for others to see.
So what you're not understanding is that when the police ask the DNA person, they are bound by the law enforcement rule where these people opted out.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not allowed to look at any of the opt-out people. So any ones that are highlighted that they opted out, she can't share that with
They're
police.
bound by the contract rule that they checked.
Yeah, so she can't share that with police. So how did the police match it if it wasn't
Because she's going to share it.
No.
Yes, she's going to share it. That's the thing. That's why she's struggling with this. She keeps going, fuck, how do I say? I mean, we did it anyways.
That's
about
what
to
I
lose
mean.
my
That's
job.
why it's the poisonous tree thing. She wasn't
No,
supposed to.
the cops don't tell her to do this. She can't plant a poisonous tree. She's not collecting evidence. She's just giving information. Even if she overshares, that's not the cops. That's not their issue to deal with this. It's good faith that she's going to do her job properly. And eventually they're going to test this buccal swab against this DNA match from the knife. So we're going to find it eventually. I feel like there's two ways that they go around this poisonous tree issue. Exclusionary evidence issue or whatever it's called.
I don't think so. I think we should watch this whole testimony.
Well, hopefully Andrea gets on board so you can start believing this. See you. Okay, let's listen. So hold on.
So why is she struggling then?
Because she fucked up. She shouldn't have done what happened.
She's the defense
And yet
witness. She's not the police.
So what? They could fuck up, and they did.
Well, you're saying she gave it to. She didn't give any. This woman gave nothing to the cops.
She's the one who matched Brian to his dad.
No, I don't think so. I think you have her. She was hired by the defense.
She's just explaining how this could happen.
How the cops went around the rules.
They hired this lady. This isn't the lady that did it,
No,
but they found.
No. The cops did not hire this lady.
No. The defense. This is who they found to tell us the story. This ain't even the person. Why would they do that?
The defense hired this woman to perform the exact same search that the cops legally would have been allowed to perform. And when she did the exact same search that the cops were legally allowed to do, she came out with nothing, even though she could see it over here.
Why do you assume that?
What do you mean? Why do I? It's because it's exactly what's going on.
So when they introduced her, they like all of that happened. They were like, "You do work. You didn't. She doesn't work for Jed Matching."
No,
or she does.
No, Jed Matching is just a website like Facebook.
So she doesn't work for the company that did it. She's just explaining how it could happen.
Cheated and got around.
This doesn't make any sense.
You're just not following.
This is a woman guessing at what happened. I'm with you, Flock. What the fuck? This whole video is trash. Okay, let's keep it. What? Okay, so
That's
a way to use this tool to get past what law enforcement is supposed to do. That's the attorney asking her. Is this how law enforcement uses this tool to get past?
Yes.
And she doesn't say yes.
I struggle with this. I'm sorry. It is a tool that is provided in the database.
It's a tool that exists, regardless if the cops want us to use it.
That essentially allows you to see things that you're not supposed to see.
That allows the user, the person behind the desk, to see things that they aren't supposed to see. It has nothing to do with the police using a tool to get around.
It has everything to do with the police because they're not allowed to look at those matches.
They didn't. She did. The person
No,
did.
she fucking didn't.
She might not have, but the person behind the desk at the actual lab did.
Which is illegal.
Okay. Either irrelevant. It's irrelevant if this person did an illegal action. The cops have a good faith that she's not the person, whomever, GED Labs, is not going to be illegal, and when obtaining their evidence. And secondarily, they were going to match his DNA eventually.
I think this all gets thrown out.
Because of this expert?
Because, yes. Well, not this expert. But
hey, Daisy girl.
This whole dirtiness.
They need to prove it.
And as a result of seeing those things, you're then using that match to find who, to identify your subject. So you're violating the terms of service by seeing these matches.
Genetic genealogy expert for accused murderer Bryan Kohberger claims she received a visit from the FBI after testifying in court for him. That has Kohberger's lawyers asking questions.
Visited by two FBI agents and interrogated about her testimony and finding of the declaration. That and how it viewed impacts and stakeholders' due process rights and his rights to effective assistance.
If you're someone who cares about the foods you put in your body, today I want to tell you about the difference between these two beef sticks.
Ann Taylor told Judge John Judge that she would file a motion regarding what happens to witnesses after they testify in court. Latah County Prosecutor Bill Thompson explained why he asked the FBI to investigate after hearing Vargas might.
Because he's backed into a problem, has no problem breaking the law. That's what they want you to think. So you were just casually reading this during their story. That's the bias they're gonna.
Why do you
implant
think two
into you.
FBI agents would start
The
showing
earworm.
up to witnesses after they testify,
Let's hear.
not
Be
before,
questioning some of her own testimony.
if not to
We
intimidate?
heard that. I reached out to investigators and said, can you find out what's going on? And the FBI indeed undertook an investigation. And their reports are that Ms. Vargas explains that some of what was in her declaration, she inadvertently agreed or signed without fully reading it. We're documenting that so we can expose it to Ms. Taylor.
So we don't know what the edit was, but when he's done explaining that he looked into it and that this was who knows what, she stands up and says,
That's certainly different than the information that I received. I would have been happy to be advised about that, but I'm not sure that's accurate. I mean, I'm sure that thing's a consequence.
I'm not calling this man a liar, but I'm saying he's not telling the truth.
no, it's her job to try to get this guy off and protect his rights. So she's like,
think- you
listen,
don't
if
think
you're
it's-
intimidating a witness, I'm going to investigate it. If it's not a witness intimidation, let's move on. That's all. It's her job to do this.
But
She's
you
not
don't
saying
think
he's a
there's
liar,
anything
but she
to
heard
the
it different.
FBI showing up? You just think that's nothing?
It sounds like without this edit that they stuck in the middle, it sounds like there was an
No,
explanation
ignore
for it
the
that
whole.
she is
Ignore
saying.
all that stuff. I'm just asking. Do you think there's anything?
Just listen to her words.
No, don't listen to. I'm asking you a question. You, not the court. None of these people. I'm asking you a question. Do you think there's anything shady about the FBI showing up to people's homes and interrogating them after they testified?
Inherently,
Any case, not this case, but any case. Do you think after someone's not before the case, but after they testified, they're all done, they're home, they're finished with the case, the cops are showing up, FBI showing up to your door to interrogate you? You don't think that's shady at all, and that's just totally
I don't find
normal?
it. I don't. So I didn't know that it's. I don't know that that's illegal. Not. I mean, without
I'm not saying
thinking
it's
that
illegal. I'm not saying it's
any
illegal. I'm
kind of
just saying
illegal, I
you don't
wouldn't
think
have
there's
thought that
anything
that was a
shady.
problem. I don't. Why? Say it again.
I'm not saying it's illegal.
No.
I'm just saying you
Mhm.
don't find it shady at all that the FBI started showing up to this woman's house after she testified and made the state look bad.
I don't think she made this. I don't know. So that's an assumption. I don't know what they asked her
No,
or
we're
what
not
any.
talking about this case. We're not talking about this case
No,
at
then no,
all.
I don't find that shady.
You don't find it shady that the FBI is showing up to people's houses after they testified in court and interrogating them?
Interrogating them. So you add on all this extra shit, but I can't say.
Okay, ask them polite questions.
No,
You
I don't
just
find
try
that
to play word
shady.
games. You don't think
I don't
it's
find it
shady at all that after they've all finished their courtroom testimony?
I don't find it inherently shady. If there's probably more to it, I have no idea. They don't give us any information. That's the thing. They tell you in text that this guy is doing illegal shit. This guy's like, I don't know. I looked into it. This is what I found. She stands up and is like, well, that's different story. So there are facts here we don't know. No, I don't find it inherently shady. I do think the FBI are awful.
And that's why I think that's why I lean towards the super, super shady side, because the FBI have done nothing dirty and shady the last fucking 6 years.
Yeah.
And I think that's why the defense is bringing it up. Like, hey, man, you've never gone to any of my witnesses. You didn't go to any of the state's witnesses' houses. How come just my DNA witness's house?
Well, he says that she ticked some box that I don't. Again, we don't have all of the facts. We just have what is here. But I would assume that the FBI doing investigations is probably in their wheelhouse.
I could see before she testified, sure, gathering evidence, but after.
But why? I don't understand. So
What's
do
the
you
benefit?
think?
What's the benefit from questioning her after she's testified versus before? Wouldn't you want to ask her
Because
everything
now
before
you've
she gets
heard
on the
her
stand?
words, so you're like, oh, okay. Well, we have some extra questions for you now that we've heard your testimony. We're still
Isn't
doing
that
an
the prosecution's
investigation.
job to ask the questions?
The FBI might still have questions. I mean, they were investigating this at the same time. We're back at the DNA spot, right? So this is before court. Oh no, this is during court. So you're saying that the FBI's investigation should be over by this time?
Yes. that the state should have everything. You shouldn't be going to trial
True.
and still investigating, right?
Right. That could make it shady. Like if they are done investigating, then what's going on here? But they don't say anything. They say, as far as intimidation goes, they say like just the FBI showing up is intimidating. It's like, I guess.
We don't know what questions they asked too, because that would be awesome if she would have recorded it. That'd be my first thing. Hi, we're here from the FBI. Let me get my camera.
Yeah. What the fuck said? Or Jonathan said, Divinity is a Fed confirmed. What did she say that triggered the investigation? That is what we are missing.
Yeah, why did they show up to this woman's house and only this woman's house?
Does it say which day that this was? No. Well, she just posted this, so maybe this is...
There's only 3 minutes left.
The information that I received, I would have been happy to be advised.
This video's trash, though. Let's see.
The audio. I think she's saying if they wanted to talk to the witness, I would have happily brought her down to the FBI to talk to her. With me as counsel, not you just showing up with her not having protection.
That's, I mean, that's, no, she's saying I would have been happy to be advised about maybe what's, again, assuming she's saying that this is different information I would have been happy to know. Yeah, before you stood up and made an ass of yourself based on what the court of public opinion told you was happening. She should unsubscribe from us because we trash.
But I'm not sure that's accurate. I mean, I'm sure that was months ago. I'm not saying they're called criminal.
So the FBI is the corrupt one in this one?
The state, the entire state is just trying to frame Brian.
These FBI agents that were at the services home last night. And
what
agency, I'm not sure that's entirely accurate. My hope is that these FBI agents that were at the services home last night. And they reported everything that they talked to her about. And that
How does the professional media have such shit audio?
Professional media, I don't think is the same thing as
Wasn't this the pool camera that's supposed to be like long cucks or long crime paying for it?
Well, they're using their mics on the desk. Right? I don't know.
You'd think the camera microphone wouldn't sound like this though, wouldn't you?
I mean, on Tuesdays is when I do my tech stuff. So on Monday, I'm more of a legal brain.
Save that one, yeah.
But I have no idea. I assumed it's because their microphones are way over here. And yeah, what the fuck said they're using the courthouse mics. We all know she knew what happened and tried to help him hide it. Wait, they should continue to investigate. What if they continued the investigation with that guy who killed his parents and cooked his mom's head in the fireplace while his girlfriend was there? Wait, what if they continued the investigation with that guy who killed his parents and cooked his mom's head in the fireplace? That's a funny way to say it. While his girlfriend was there.
I think he's saying, could they? What if they kept investigating? They could have got the girl for being part of the murder.
I agree. We all know she knew
what
what
happened. Got the guy they wanted, so now we're done.
Yeah, I don't. So again, because I don't know anything, if the investigation does end, like you're saying, then I do find that shady. If it doesn't, they're the FBI. They have heard a human being give information that is a brand new piece in their puzzle. We'll just assume it's a regular human without any motives. They're like, hey, let's go talk to her. Hold on, can we? Well, yeah, she checked the box here. It said we can talk to her whatever the fuck she wants. All right, let's go talk to her.
Do you think they should
and
go
then boom,
through...
knock, knock, knock. You check the box. You can go through.
Do you think the police should ask the lawyer to speak to a witness first for courtesy or anything like that?
I do feel like there's probably professional courtesy but
okay,
I have
can your client come down or can your witness come
but
down?
they probably would have called her and been like, hey, the FBI's on the way. Don't say anything. The FBI doesn't want that. I mean, they're trying to solve a murder, regardless if it's convenient for this lady or that lady or anybody, Brian especially.
Frame somebody for a murder.
Allegedly. But to see, we can't. So Karen Reed is being framed and this person's being framed. There's just no crime in America.
no, there's crime. I think those cases are just easier. I think how many innocent people have gotten out of jail, right? Thousands.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not rare. Like the Innocence Project gets people off of death row, like, and that's supposed to be a higher standard to get to. So it does happen often, like way too often.
Okay.
I think it's because we, the public, haven't really been able to do all this viewing and crowdsourcing of ideas compared to yesteryear.
I don't know, crowdsourcing of ideas is the right thing to say, but definitely the recording of almost everything we do.
Like the
Body
Karen Reed situation, if there wasn't internet around, do you think people would be bringing up her being framed at all? Or do you think that's
Yeah,
just
I'm sure that's
enough?
her only chance at defense is that. People say that all the time. I was framed.
Is that what her lawyer's saying, that she's being framed, or they just got everything wrong?
They say they know who did it and that the cops are covering up for other cops. Sounds like a
The
frame
defense says
frame
that?
theory. Well, they said it on the court steps that they know who did it, that they need the officer inside the house's phone because they believe they're colluding, that the hour in lost time, all of that comes from the defense.
Okay. I'd have thought
The
defense
court
was
of
trying
public
to just.
opinion is putting it out there and trying to pretend like there's I don't know. Like there's.
Here's the question: does this so them going out and saying, "Oh, we know who's the killer. They're doing all this in public, right?" So when you have, oh no, that wouldn't work, because when you have your appeal, it's just judges, so you don't have a jury for your appeal. I was going to say, I wonder if they're building the case for an appeal, but judges wouldn't give a fuck about that.
Well, that's all of this is. All the dismiss at the beginning, the bring up the Fourth Amendment. All of this is just preserving the record. Like if we want to bring this up on appeal, we have to have talked about it now. So when the armchair lawyers like you and I, or the true crimers really are like, let's figure this out and let's solve it, because the defense, because Andrea first is a good example actually, because she does a really good job of saying, as a defense lawyer, I would do this. It's a very different thing from saying these are the reasons why this is wrong.
True.
That's why
we're
I
not lawyers, so we can't say that.
and right, and so then you hear how she would fight this case, and you're like, oh my god, this is all the police have fucked up. It's a frame. You're like, no. We're talking defense theory against prosecution theory. We're just talking about how, if it could, then maybe it would. These are just like throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing if anything's done.
Because all you need is reasonable doubt. You don't need to prove he's innocent.
But when they went to the grand jury, all they needed was probable cause. So they're really trying to run this through the the public opinion to taint everything, so that everyone just thinks that this guy is, I don't know, being pre-guilty. Well, not even there. It's all pre-innocence, which is fine. That's the way it should be. But it's like, his DNA is in the house, and we're going out of our way to figure out how come his DNA. Listen, if his DNA is in the house at this point, I'm just going to be like, he might have killed them, instead of the other,
not random sold his knife to somebody and that's how his DNA got there. Not saying that's how it did, but NBC, when they did their 1 hour special, why Brian's the killer or something, like, you know as fucking much as we do. But they did a whole special that Brian is the killer and this is how they caught him.
And I think they'd had a lot of assertions there that make,
because I think it would be really hard for a prospective jury
doubt
member to say that now. Like, if you watch that, you're like, well, I'm pretty biased now. They got his DNA. He must be the killer. Like, it'd be really hard.
Yeah, you're right. That is definitely very, very hard to overcome.
Because the news doesn't lie. The news would never lie unless you get red pill jurors and like, oh, motherfuckers always lie.
It's just crazy. Like, there's no other DNA. Maybe they didn't do a thorough enough investigation, though. So I guess
do you find anything shady or fishy about only finding 4 samples in the whole house?
I wonder about it because, like, they have to be visible, right, or obvious hairs. But like, as far as DNA goes, it would have to be like a drip or a drop or something, right?
Like if
Spit,
you're
you're
if
not going to
you're
see.
doing a
How are you
big
gonna see
violent like
that?
stabbing something or other, like you're breathing heavy, you're like, you know, you're gonna aspirate some little spittle or something, even sweat.
How do they do a crime scene then? Do they spray it with stuff to illuminate the DNA?
From my
Because
TV,
I would,
my TV knowledge, they bring in the black light and all that stuff. But reality, who knows?
because I would, in my non-professional thought process, I would think they, you know, you walk into a room and you're like, everything looks fine here, and then you kind of look for another second. You're like, okay, well, that is a drop of something. Let's collect that. You know,
Yeah,
like
they put those
it'd be
little
hard to
yellow
see unless it's
triangles
blood or
next to the
semen.
stuff they see. Like this is a dot. I don't know what it is. It's a cigarette butt. They'll put that little yellow
Right.
tent
An
over
a
it
marker, an
beside
evidence
it.
marker.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So maybe they only were looking for blood type evidence, and they found 4 possible blood type spots, tested them, found out they were male, and only one of them came back in this database.
How come
And
no
that same
police
person that it
DNA
came back as
was
also
found?
had an Elantra and also was driving around for his alibi that night.
Do you think there'd be some police DNA found? 0 fingerprints. I don't think
Why?
they reported any fingerprints.
What? Police DNA?
Yeah, like with all the cops going in and out of the house, you think some of their hair might have fell off or spit or something might have fell off. Like the police who touched the bodies, right? So someone had to like touch the bodies to check for a pulse.
Yeah, no, I think they could tell that it was dead. But no, that's what I mean. So I don't think they're, besides the weapon sheath, you know, they're like, oh, a stabbing. Oh, here's that. Besides that, they're not checking every surface for touch DNA. They're probably looking for the like physical, like, I don't know,
Yeah, like
blood or
if bodies are
some
found in a bed, like in
obvious.
beds, I want to check the beds for DNA, like possible rapes or something. Who knows? But I think I'd want to check that whole bed sheet for DNA.
I'm sure they did,
Because if you're
right?
swinging and stabbing and fighting, one hair, something's gotta fall out.
But just so, what makes you say they didn't test those things?
Just the 4 samples only that they reported.
But
you'd think there'd be other boys' hair or DNA in the girls' beds.
I mean, there doesn't need to be.
Just one, like just it happened. There doesn't need to be, but you think there might be like one hair from a boyfriend in their bed.
I don't think the 2 girls. I think the one has an ex-boyfriend. The other one doesn't have a boyfriend. The 2 that are in bed together, the 2 girls in the one room.
Tinder boyfriends, temporary boyfriends, 24-hour night boyfriends.
Yeah, maybe they're just not whores.
Maybe true. But I still think there's got to be more than 4 samples. That's in my mind is a bother for me, is that there were only 4 found in a busy house, especially with all you girls in there doing your hair together, combing your hair. There's hairs flying everywhere, so there should be like a few female DNA samples found, wouldn't you think?
Yeah. I don't know how. I have no idea.
That stupid lack of evidence isn't evidence, but it kind of is.
I mean, it helps paint a picture. I just don't know how they collect specifically DNA evidence, and just because they said that they're unsure about why they didn't test these 4 other 3 male DNAs in the database doesn't also mean they didn't find a bunch of other shit that was the girls that they can rule out, you know, like that doesn't mean any of that stuff didn't also happen.
No, you would think they would have like samples were matched to be roommates or to be officers.
And they did, like, right, so they did that to a certain degree because they've tested it to the point they know that it's a male DNA. So it's not that they didn't test these samples. So they're just, I think the question is, why weren't these other ones tested in the database? But the woman who was just on here said she had subjects and one of them matched. So maybe they did give her all the DNA. The one matched. Here's the thing. He doesn't show up here because he checked the box, but he still has 100 centimorgans or whatever it was. Yeah, Winter's Soldier said, those beds are sperm banks. Good luck separating that DNA mixture.
Well, there should be some
Gross.
DNA.
If you appeal, you've already lost. You've been proven guilty in the initial charges. You're assumed innocent. Best to win up front. Yeah, but I was looking at this Supreme Court stuff. This is something that some point we'll be covering. What's happening, what's going on, the things that made it to the court. 30% of cases are overturned at the Supreme Court level. So that means a lot of judges
That's a big percentage, really.
have fucked it up. And they're still, yeah. So
That's really an extreme percentage considering judges should know better to get appealed. That's a high percentage.
I mean, the first judge, and then it goes to the appeal. This is the Supreme Court overturning, not just the appeals court.
Yeah, that's a.
So
I
it's
would
past
never would have guessed
several.
that high. I would have said like 5-10%.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's a shocker to me.
We don't shock them, y'all. So we're 2.5 hours. I think I could play this. It's just telling about the exclusionary rule again, just so we have another overview over it as we hear it coming into this week. I don't think it's going to teach us anything we didn't already learn, though. So
I found a video. I didn't watch it yet, but maybe we can do it next Monday. It's about a real life crime scene. They investigate it. So maybe they'll walk us through on, what's the first things they do when they walk into a crime scene? Do they like stop and put their booties on? Do they?
Yeah, that's a good question.
But
there were so many people in this crime scene. They called the police or they didn't. They're like, neighbors come over, the people go in the house, see that they're dead. The one girl passes out on the front lawn calling, like a lot of people are walking through this crime scene.
That's what I mean. Like there should be more than 4 DNA samples.
Just because he walked through doesn't mean you also left your DNA.
No, but it's a good chance that something fell off.
I don't know. But are they, because it's a house that has all that, are they automatically like, clearly we're going to find a lot of DNA here, maybe?
I think when they do like a crime scene, they ask every single cop who was stepped foot on the scene to submit a DNA sample so they can like exclude all these other samples. So maybe they did find 10 samples, 5 were cops, and they just excluded all those right off the bat. So maybe that's why there's only 4 samples.
So maybe the murderer is a cop.
Because it could have been the neighbor. The neighbor said, "Oh, here's my DNA, so I'm excluded. This person's maybe."
Maybe, I don't know.
Because I'm still curious about why they excluded one of the girl's ex-boyfriends when even the parents are like, why did he get excluded? Because he should probably be looked at harder.
Yeah, maybe he had a better alibi than I was just driving by the house.
True. But I think the parents were even shocked because I think they asked questions like, why did he get excluded so fast?
Because she had expressed fear of him stalking her, but that doesn't, I mean, if he has an alibi, he has an alibi, right?
Well, if my alibi is playing PlayStation games at midnight live, that could have been my roommate playing on my Xbox.
Yeah, that's probably not what he said then. Maybe he said he was
no, that would be a good alibi. Like, look, I was live with Divinity all night. Go check the time logs. Meanwhile, we recorded it and posted it.
That's happened. There was the murderer who did the murder of that chick and pretended to be live.
Oh yeah.
I did a video
killed
about
his
it.
parents too.
No.
That girl. He was live.
He was live?
Yeah, he was talking to her. Said, "Hold on." Goes out, murders his parents, comes back down and talks to her again while they're dead in the back room.
Oh, good God.
Because they wouldn't let them date.
The one I'm talking about is the guy who set up his whole live and went and killed this chick and was like, "No, I was live." At the beginning he was like,
"Oh yeah, that rings a bell.
Chat doesn't work right now." I did a video about it, but
I remember that case.
YouTube wouldn't let me post it because they're bastards.
Yes, I do remember that now.
We're gonna play it here.
Yeah, he tried to fake his live. It's like, "Oh, I can't read super chats now. Something's broken," but it was really just a live replay. Yes, I remember that.
Where is it?
That was years ago.
I did the video though.
2, 3?
Somebody had to tell me about that. I'm almost positive it was Jimmy Discord. Jimmy. I don't know when it happened. I think it was in the last 5 years.
That was some age on it.
God, I've done a lot of videos since then. When influencers snap, I think this is it. Removed. I won't even let me play it. What a bunch of faggots.
Fuck YouTube.
Yeah, they're not letting me.
Did you say a bad word in there?
No, dude. I posted clips from videos that already exist on YouTube. And they're like,
oh, you reuse content.
You can't. No, that's not this one. This is glorifying violence. That's why they took this down. I'm like, Lord, what? I wasn't. I was saying it was a compilation of the shit that happens. What do you think about these stories?
The news glorifies violence every single day.
Yeah, I'm back in the day in the 90s, maybe the early 2000s, but I'm pretty sure late 90s.
Did you see what just happened in Calgary the other day?
Calgary, no.
In Canada, 2 rival Haitian gangs or something had a 100-man fight to the death in downtown in Calgary. Because Canada's a third world country now. You guys need a northern border ASAP.
Yeah, I'm an advocate for that. Well, how do I type in to find out these? How many did 100 people die?
No, I think it was just a battle of a whole bunch of people. Just type in Calgary public riot or fight or
Calgary.
Let's just say there weren't too many light-skinned folk.
23 hours ago.
It's like our government thinks that everybody from a third world are great, loving people, when they don't realize that they kill each other tribally.
Police respond to an incident in northeast Falcon Ridge at around 5 p.m. Saturday after reports of 2 groups with opposing views engaged in violence. They said they believe up to 150 people were involved and many were brandishing weapons. If this was a fight to the death and no one died...
I didn't say I was just exaggerating the fight to the death, but 150 people in one big brawl, that's fucking...
Well, there was a prison in Minnesota, I think. Pretty sure the inmates. Wait, hold on, what's happening here? I reject. Yeah, Minnesota prison. 100 of the inmates refused to go back in their cells yesterday during the heat wave. And once they realized, that wasn't hard, boys, can we get the rest of us together?
That's great. That's why the police or the prisons like the race fights and all that stuff, because they're fighting each other and they won't all gang up on. There's been police riots where they have completely taken over the prison 100%, kidnapped 15 guards.
Yeah, it's sad. It happened in Vegas. They raped, I think, one of the female guards in the towers.
I don't know, what are you gonna do? Give me another life sentence?
Exactly.
I think that's the problem with the prisons. They put too many. They should make a whole bunch of small prisons instead of massive and super prisons. Easier to control, easier to maintain, easier to, you know what I mean? Just make a whole bunch of 50-person prisons instead of 5,000-person prisons.
Okay, I think I agree. I think we made it to the end of this.
Oh, you got things to do today, girl.
I'm not convinced that this will be thrown out. I need to know more.
You didn't think she'd try to make a motion to dismiss early on, too. I did.
Yeah, but it turns out that they do that in every case. So that was the bing fucking free bingo.
It's still a feather in my cap. I'm keeping it.
Jonathan says, I riot with Canadian citizens. You mean, does that mean you stand with them or you want to riot against
truckers,
them?
the Freedom Truckers. The Canadian riot where they stood peacefully with hot tubs and bouncy castles in the middle of minus 30 Celsius weather.
I mean, how long would they have done that if they weren't stopped?
Forever. We would never have stopped. We're stubborn motherfuckers.
I mean, at some point, those people have mortgages, though, right? And that's their job to drive truck.
No, people were coming in and out on the weekends. The truckers, the original truckers, there's only say 500 of them. Were there Sunday to Saturday, the whole week. But on the weekends, it would fill up with 50,000 people on the weekends, and it would go down for the week, and then 50,000 people on the weekends, and then down for the week. And they did it for months and months. And the government thought that, winter's coming, they'll all quit and give up. We're fucking Canadians. We don't care about the cold. So Trudeau had to call the state of emergency, the War Measures Act, to shut down these peaceful protesters. And that was the other part of the protest is everybody was being specific not to break the law, so the cops couldn't do anything about it. Because that's where the gas can meme came from, because they weren't allowed the truckers to bring in fuel, but it wasn't against the law for people to carry a gas jug. And then the cops started stopping everybody with gas jugs and not letting them in. So then all these people went out and bought empty gas jugs, so the cop couldn't stop 300 people with empty gas jugs. So they were still getting through. That's where the gas jug meme came from. Oh, and then the cops confiscated a bunch of gas, and then the court said that's illegal. There's nothing, they're allowed to have gas, and the judge ordered them to give it back. Well, what the cops did is they put water in all the gas they had to give back to try and fuck up the truckers' engines, and they got caught.
Wow.
That's why
They are dirty.
Anyway, great morning.
Yeah, that was fun. Thanks for showing up early.
Yeah,
We'll see you
great.
tomorrow. We'll talk Nick and Drex.
Yes.
Sounds
See you
good.
later, chat.
See you later, chat.